To go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers, scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get, become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comment section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Ghost Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to another post-game live. Hope everyone is enjoying your Sunday. We have got a big show for you here this morning. We have got a Seattle Sounders win to break down 3-2 last night at Lumen Field over the San Jose Earthquakes. We're going to be talking about the latest injury to Jordan Morris, which was the obviously unfortunate news to come out of that game. But there was a moose brace. There was a Pedro de la Vega breakout, which I think is going to be among, if not the main topics on this show today. I think that has some of the biggest implications going forward off this game in particular. There was some defensive issues. Andy T did stand on his head. So we're going to break it. We're going to break it all down. We're going to have Mark Kastner, Sounder at Heart colleague, joining the show at the top here in just a few minutes. And then planning on taking some calls after that. If any of you, the people, want to hop on and lay down some takes with me. So a lot to get to. Before we do all that, I do have to ask you all to please like the video, sub to the channel, follow us on all socials, including Instagram and TikTok. Order the Lobbing Scorchers hot sauce, lobbingscorchers.com/sauce. And if you order your new Orca kit at the link lobbingscorchers.com/archive, it supports the show. So definitely do that. And thank you all for tuning in. It's going to be a good show. It's always, it's always more fun when it's a W to talk about, especially coming off that unfortunate draw against Colorado. The Sounders do get back in the win column. So we'll get Mark on here in just a few minutes, but before we bring him on, while we wait for people to keep trickling in here, I'll just lay down some of my initial thoughts on this game, and then we'll get to it. And as always, if you have questions, topics, thoughts, agendas, observations, grievances, go ahead and drop them in chat. Get to as many as I can, and don't be afraid to make it a super chat. That's another great way to support Lobbing Scorchers. All right, before I get into my takes here, I'll hit a couple of the items we got in chat to start it off. Get the discourse flowing here. Joe says Matt Doyle deserves his victory lap for suggesting Pedro on the left would fix his issues. Matt Doyle was one of the people who were beating that drum. But the guest I'm about to bring on in a few minutes, actually, I would say was beating that drum. In fact, I know he was beating that drum even before Doyle, because I'm on a group chat with him, and he's been beating that drum for a while. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about. But it was remarkable, wasn't it? How much better the Pedro de la Vega experience looked with him playing that position. You could argue, perhaps, that should have been tried sooner. Because he looked like a different guy. I think he looked incredible. Looked like a $7 million player. We're going to talk about De La Vega. We're going to talk a lot about De La Vega. He's the title of the show. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear that that's his best position. Probably has been his best position this whole time, and they need to run him more there because that was electric. Folks, I buried the lead actually. De La Vega, I think De La Vega's the lead, but I buried the lead. The Seattle Sounders have made it through a 90-minute Major League Soccer match. No fullback ejections, and no penalty kicks conceded. They got pretty close to blowing the lead anyway, but when you don't get a fullback sent off and you don't give up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes, you can concede a goal or two, and it doesn't necessarily have to sacrifice the result. You see how that works? Keep all 11 guys on the field. Don't give up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes. Score 3 goals. Win the game. In all seriousness, this offense is rolling right now. That's 3 games in a row with 3 goals. You can't ask for much better output than that. It was another good showing on that side of the ball last night. Obviously, a very unfortunate start to the game with Jordan Morris going down with this time a shoulder injury, AC joint, I believe. I don't know exactly what he did to it, but Schmetz did say after the game that he's going to have to get surgery. So that it just sucks so bad. Feel terrible for him. He just got back. When he's been on the field this season, he has looked, I think, as good as he ever has. The runs he's making, his finishing, he's been banging in goals when he's been able to get on the field. But I saw the takes out there, people giving him a hard time for being like injury prone. This guy can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. I don't really want to hear it. Okay, that is a freak play. He's going for a ball over the top. The goalkeeper, I don't really understand how that wasn't a foul. He did that like twice at least. Did he do that 3 times where he came off his line and just cleaned a dude out? He did it at least twice. I don't really. I know he won the ball on the collision with Jordan, but it was still arguably a foul. But Jordan's going to have to get surgery, and we'll have to wait for exact prognosis on that. But I think anytime you're talking about surgery, I feel like anytime you're talking about surgery, you're probably talking about like at least a month. Surgery's like going to be in that 4, 6, 8 weeks time frame, as opposed to that 2 to 4 week time frame. He's going to be out for the foreseeable. Maybe it's a situation where it's like minor surgery and the timeline's not. I don't know. We'll have to see. But Jordan Morris, in all likelihood, out for this stretch run of the season here, which it's just like his team, I guess, was destined to never have all their DPs playing together at the same time. Anytime they almost get there, someone gets injured. So just unfortunate, obviously. Wish Jordan a speedy recovery. Hopefully he'll be back soon and can contribute come playoff time. Danny Musovski did deputize once again about as effectively as he possibly could have. He scores 2 more goals. That's 8 league goals for Moose this season. 9 all comps. Where would this team be without Danny Musovski? I mean, another big time performance from Moose. The Moose is loose. Seattle concedes the first goal in this game, and then Moose equalizes pretty much immediately. So I think that was one of my first takeaways from this game is that, obviously you never want to concede the first goal at home. But if that does happen, it becomes about how you respond. The San Jose Earthquakes, for whatever their flaws, of which there are several, they're a very good offensive team. They have 46 goals this year They have the second or third most goals in all of MLS. They give up a lot of goals, as we saw, but they're a good team offensively. That opening goal that they got, whoever that left back is, I was watching again. He made a nice play on that. He got by Obed, and then Yamar tried to close him out and block it, and the cross got by him. But his initial move, he hit a little step over and then just acceleration past Obed to the end line where Yamar couldn't close him out. But he made a nice run, good service, and then Preston Judd got the close range finish. So it's 1-0, and then again, it's like, punched in the mouth. How do you respond? They get the Moose goal right after. So I love to see that. You're going to get punched in the mouth sometimes, especially down the stretch while everyone's dogfighting for playoff positioning and into the playoffs. There's probably going to be games where you concede first. Happens sometimes. You have to have the mental fortitude to respond and score a goal yourself, and they did that. So that was great to see. But really from there, let's talk about him. It was all about Pedro de la Vega. And, I'm going to bring Mark on here in a second to talk about this topic more. But I will say real quick, for my part, I think it's fair to say that Bad Sequels, thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. Appreciate the support, as always. I think it's fair that we've been a little hard at times on our show about on Pedro de la Vega, but I don't even really look at it as being hard on him. I look at it as holding him to an extremely high standard. When you're a $7 million player, but not just a $7 million player, you're wearing the number 10 for the Seattle Sounders, the first player to do that since Nico Ladero. There's a weight that comes with that. There's an expectation of production that for several reasons, a few of which have been beyond his control, especially last year with all the injuries he had. But if you were just looking at it, this is how I was looking at it. Like, if you're just looking at it, regardless of the injuries or if Schmetz is giving him the opportunity or not, whatever the case may be, that production hasn't been there to this point. And while we've seen great moments in flashes, I don't think we've seen a game like that from him where he took over the game and he won the team the game. That's what a $7 million DP looks like. That's the impact that they can have on a given game. And I think that was the first time, at least to me, that it looked like he really he looked like a player like that. And that really is that could not be a more phenomenal sign for this team. He's got to sustain it. But just the fact, oh my God, like the assist on that first Moose goal. What a dime. It looked like that was like one of those Jordan Morris outside the foot passes, but he hits Moose right in stride on that. Great look, great setup. Easy finish for Moose. And then the game winner, the goal that he scored, I think that was the best goal that a Sounders player has scored all season. And that's, those shots from outside the box, we've known that he has that in his bag. But God, that was a sick shot. And that was about as loud as I've heard Lumen Field all season. The place went absolutely bonkers because of how great a finish it was, but also who scored it, I think, had to do with the crowd reaction. And honestly, I couldn't be happier for him. This is that's what we wanted to see. And for whatever struggles he's had, it's definitely never been an issue of lack of effort or desire. We all know he's a practice god. I haven't been to training as much this year. But I was out there a few weeks ago interviewing, doing a couple interviews for my Obed feature, and that goal that he scored, he does that in training, that stuff in training every day. Just hasn't translated to the games consistently for whatever reason, injury, lack of opportunity, whatever it is. But that's the type of stuff that he can do. And I think, before I bring Mark on here, I do think that any sort of notion that he is like not a good footballer or not talented, or the Sounders scouted up some guy that just isn't good or doesn't have it, I think a game like that, we can put that stuff to bed. Like, he very clearly is a very dynamic, very talented player that's struggled to put it together so far in MLS for whatever reason. But this was a breakout game, and it was great to see. That's a great sign for the Sounders as they continue the stretch run of the season and jostle for home field advantage in the playoffs. I think that's a good spot to bring on the man himself, Sounder at Heart colleague, Mark Kastner. Going to bring him to the stage right now. And what I'm going to do here is, while Mark and I are riffing on this game, I'm going to drop the call link in the chat. And if you guys want to queue in while we're riffing, go right ahead. We're probably going to go 10, 15-ish minutes. And then if anyone else wants to hop in today, going to drop the link in the chat right now, and I'll keep dropping that in. Mark, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, great Sunday after a pretty impressive Sounders win, I would say, for a lot of reasons. Wasn't perfect, but it was enjoyable for sure.
It's been fun to watch this attack over these last 3 games. I was thinking about how, like, last year, if you remember the dog days where it was a lot of 1-0s or 1-1s. They couldn't score goals, and we were talking so much about how, like, God, it would be nice if, even if they weren't taking results, could they at least score some goals, be entertaining? They're definitely scoring a lot of goals right now, so that's great to see. But Mark, you wanted to get in on this De La Vega discourse. You've been in on it all season. There's been a lot of varying viewpoints, takes flying around about Pedro De La Vega, and you've had your stance on it. So what did you think, first of all, I guess, of watching him dominate the way that he did last night, relative to his whole Seattle tenure and what people have been saying about him over the course of, I guess, this season in particular?
Yeah, I think all along, my sort of viewpoint on this is the Sounders have to put Pedro in a position to succeed, and they hadn't been for several reasons over the last, let's call it, year and a half. He gets injured, he can't be training. Other players are impressive in training or impressive in games or whatnot, and he just kind of becomes a forgotten man. But overall, I would say my biggest point about him has been you have this player that you've put a lot of resource into it. You have to figure out how to make him play in the best role possible for him, because if you think he's the type of player that you spent $7 million on, like you mentioned, it doesn't make sense to shoehorn him into some sort of like tactical fit that doesn't work for him. And I think all along, we all sort of realized, like, playing him on the right sort of like neuters his game a little bit, because that's just not where he's comfortable. In Argentina, he played on the left. He needs to be able to have a lot of freedom to kind of like go and find the game and, collect the ball deep and kind of combine with his fullback and, the defensive midfielder that's playing kind of off of his shoulder. So all along, he just hasn't really been able to do that. And I think last night you saw what can happen when, I think even in Smetch's press conference last night, he mentioned, like, he's giving the attackers a little bit more freedom in their structure to go and play the game. And I also think by pairing him with a fullback like Reed Baker Whiting, and then allowing him to kind of play off with Rusnak and whatnot. It just is like the best situation for him to succeed. And I think going forward, the 4 attackers that, let's say, ended or played most of the game together, because it's, Morris isn't going to play for a while. I think those are the 4 attackers that you have to start most games with, because as we've seen with Pedro, he's not a very effective substitute. He needs to be able to find the game, feel the game, pick up the pockets of space and whatnot. And that's so hard to do in 20 minutes when, let's say, the game state is you're chasing a lead or you're trying to protect a lead, or just like the different scenarios you find yourself in like the 76th minute or whatever. It's different when you have the opportunity to spend, let's say, most of the first half, like he did, trying to find like where to be effective. And he was incredible. Like, I think I'm really struggling to, like, in terms of like a single game performance, that's up there with like some of the best like any DP performances we've seen from the Sounders, just like in terms of like electricity and dynamism. And, obviously the production was there with the goal and assist. We've seen other Sounders DPs and whatnot get hat tricks and whatnot, but just in terms of like an overall performance and sort of blueprint for like what he can actually do for the team, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, no, it really was. And I think coming off a game like that, you have to keep running him on the left and see if you can string together like parlay this into a consistent run of games and a consistent run of form, and then see what that can do to your ceiling. Because I've been of the mind that, and again, I'm not a training every day, but based on what I've been seeing in games, I've been fine with rolling Paul Rothrock out there as the starter. I think he's looked really good. He's been productive in the last few weeks. So like riding the hot hand, I think made sense. But I think what you saw with De La Vega last night is there's just such a different ceiling of what he can do at his peak level compared to really any attacker on the team. I think, Ryan Kent's a guy who theoretically has some similar stuff in his bag as far as like creativity and dynamism and ability to impact a game, but he has not looked in the last like month or so like he did his first couple games with the team. And especially I think with the Jordan injury now, the importance of De La Vega is even accentuated, because you're going to need other people in the attack to step up, like Moose did last night, like both Jesus Ferreira and Paul Rothrock have been doing lately. But again, it's just like like that goal he scored. There's just not many players in general who can do stuff like that. And there's certainly, like, as far as this Sounders attack, if they can get him playing, even he doesn't even have to be that level. That was insane. But if he can even get like 75-80% of that level semi consistently, it's just like a game changer as far as this team's ceiling and what they can do this year, isn't it?
Yeah, my favorite moment from Pedro last night wasn't even the goal or assist. It was actually, I think it was Musovski's first goal, where the keeper plays it out. Pedro wins the recovery, and instead of doing the thing that the Sounders have done all year, with like they win the ball back and then they kind of recycle possession and whatnot, Pedro collects the ball and either with his first or second touch just fires it into Obed, who, to Obed's credit, also made like a really incredibly dynamic run, like right towards the top of the penalty area. So he just is the type of player that can play with the quickness that I think the Sounders press deserves. Like I've been saying all year, that I think the Sounders press is elite in terms of MLS like in the league. You're probably not going to find a better press than where this Sounders team has been.
It's been really good, like the last few weeks in particular, too.
Yeah, and the thing that's been frustrating is they don't really use that press as a creative outlet. It's about winning the ball back, and then it's just kind of like we've seen it all the time. They win the ball back, they pass it backwards to the center backs or the fullbacks, and they just kind of recycle possession and really try to kind of like go from there, which we've seen the Sounders be effective at that for a long time. That's kind of a hallmark of Brian Smetzer. But I think with this current group of players, and especially that kind of 3-man attacking band behind the striker, I think when you're playing with Albert, Pedro, and Jesus, you have a combination of players there that can they're all either above average or I would even say elite pressers in and of themselves, but as kind of an attacking band, I think they can just be incredibly creative, both on and off the ball with the press, if they're able to kind of play really quickly. And I think that on that goal, that's what you saw. Instead of winning the ball, turning around, passing it backwards, he fires it into Obed. Hey, maybe 7 out of 10 times that doesn't come off, but making the opponent realize oh crap, they're going to play quickly. I think you saw kind of San Jose be flat-footed, not only because their goalkeeper just turned the ball over, but they just weren't in a position to deal with the Sounders being dynamic in that moment. And I was really pleased with that. And then after that, he gets a goal and assist to top it off. So
yeah, no, it's a great point in that De La Vega is a player who does the little things well. Like he does press, he does have a high work rate. He is I think he's a plus presence defensively, and we've seen all that stuff the whole time he's been on the team. It's just been a matter of unlocking all of that kind of next level talent in attack that we've known he has it. We've seen it at times. He's even before this game, there were really good moments this season. He had a couple of really nice assists, those cutback passes to Albert Rusnak. He had a really nice goal in the Nashville game as well. We've seen him score a few bangers. So it was just great to see him put it together like that. And this offense has been a pleasure to watch these last 3 games. I guess before we talk about the defense a little bit, Mark, what do you think about the number 9 situation right now? Because I think it's fair to say it's a concern with Jordan out for the next foreseeable future. I feel great about Moose, honestly, as the de facto first choice starter right now. I think he's earned equity in that this season. I don't know what to make of this, but just if you look at the numbers, Danny Musovski is one of the most efficient strikers in MLS right now. So, and
he's always been the nerds have always loved his numbers, and I would consider myself one of.
It's a victory for the underlying numbers, because
I know. I know Noah's not here.
Some people around these parts might not like that, but the whole idea behind the signing was that this is a guy that didn't get a lot of minutes in his MLS career because he's been buried on depth charts at LAFC, and then he was on RSL for a while. But every time he got his minutes, you could see that he was extremely efficient and that he was getting his goals. So the idea was, if we don't necessarily break the bank on resources for this backup 9 roster spot, but we get a guy who we think is undervalued based on his underlying stats, but hasn't gotten the minutes to show it. You plug that into our system with our attackers, our playmakers. We're going to make a bet that the production will be there based on what we can see under the hood, if you will. And I think that it didn't bear out last year. He got injured last year for a while, to be fair, but he ended up with only 1 goal last year, at least in league play. But this year, with a clean bill of health and a full complement of minutes that he's been able to get, 8 goals, 2 assists. He started 10 or 11 games, and he's got 10 goal contributions. So that like, you know, in a given game, Moose clear first choice starter at the 9. I feel good about that. That's great. He's producing. However, Moose cannot play every minute of every game. They're going to have to rest him at certain points. They got Leagues Cup coming up, and the way I see this is that in a situation where Moose can't start there, they're going to have to run Ferreira there, which I don't like. That's fine. He played there in San Diego the last time he played there, and he got a goal. And I think in general, Jesus Ferreira is looking a lot more just comfortable on this team. It seems like he's got the chemistry with the guys now. And while that's been taking place, like with him playing in the wide channel, I think sliding him over if Moose has to rotate out, that can function. Hopefully it looks better than it did earlier in the season when he was playing up there. But I think it probably will, just because he's been on the team for longer. He knows where he fits, and he's just in general a very adaptable player. But it's also like both of like Jesus Ferreira's been playing a ton of minutes as well. So it's just like, I think the depth at that spot is definitely an issue right now. Osaze got signed to the first team, but hasn't really gotten much run. How do you size up the number 9 situation with this Jordan injury, and how would you handle it?
Yeah, I think what Moose has showed us this year is that he can do 70% of what Jordan Morris can do. And that's what this attack really needs, especially earlier this season when the Sounders were struggling to score a lot of goals and were kind of struggling for consistency in attack. And I think Moose just kind of slots in, does, you know, he's kind of like store brand Jordan Morris, which is exactly kind of what this attack needs, especially when you have the amount of resources in that attacking band behind him, as the Sounders do. And so I feel really good about that. I feel fine. But as you mentioned, like, he can get hurt also. And he also can't play every minute of every game until, let's say, October.
Christian Roldan and Obed Vargas can play every minute of every game.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't, but
maybe they shouldn't.
They are.
We could debate that, but
but I don't actually, and I felt this way pretty much all season. I don't hate Ferreira at the 9 as much as kind of other people have, and I know maybe that's a unpopular take or a hot take or whatever, but I think if you're playing the way that the Sounders played, for instance, last night, and as I was mentioning a few minutes ago, in terms of like using the press as like a dynamic, creative outlet instead of kind of like being a really set possession team as they were trying to be earlier in the year when Ferreira was playing there. I think it works. I also think Ferreira is way more comfortable with his teammates and in a new team. And I think the team is just playing better overall, that it's worth figuring out if it can work in certain situations. I don't love it for everything all the time, just like I don't love Moose for everything all the time, but I think it's worth an option. And one thing to kind of consider is, you know, it's late July, basically. It's July 20th. No sort of signing the Sounders can make, like with what they have at kind of their ability with this roster. So for instance, like a U22 signing or whatever, that's not going to be a solution for this season. Like it's
the odds of it being that are pretty much like I don't know. Maybe Noah Ohio comes in and is just the best player ever, but like
could be.
If we're being realistic about the odds of that happening, it's just not very high.
And then if you're also kind of like, well, okay, the Sounders need to make a trade or something, nobody is going to trade a striker to the Sounders better than Danny Musovski. So it's kind of like Brian's going to have to like make this work. He's just going to have like, I know I felt like all year the Sounders have been like one thing away from having like their perfect attack. And like last night, in my opinion, those 4 players that played in attacking midfield and at striker, I think offer the highest ceiling for the Sounders attack, and that lasted 15 minutes. So
yes, exactly.
So then the logical thing for where I kind of come from is like, well, if Musovski is like just 30% worse than Jordan Morris, I think that offers kind of the best overall kind of situation. But with Leagues Cup coming up, maybe Brian is able to experiment with some things and try some things out. I would really hate to see somebody else get injured in Leagues Cup. So personally, I kind of want Tacoma Defiance to play all those games, but I'm strange, and I'm not I don't run a professional soccer team, and 2, I'm not a head coach. So
I think early in Leagues Cup is a good time to experiment and tweak some things and run some stuff that maybe you haven't been running or don't normally get the opportunity to run. It's sort of, I don't know, it's similar to how I feel about Open Cup, I guess. Like early rounds, rotate a lot, experiment, and then the later you get in the tournament, if it looks like you're actually making a run and can win it, then at that point, play like your more normal regular lineups that you would run in league play. But yeah, I mean, I think for now that spot is just going to be the Moose Ferreira rotation. I agree that like I don't hate the Ferreira idea. I think some people are just like scarred from the games earlier this season. The St. Louis one comes to mind. The San Diego one obviously comes to mind, where he was playing that spot and they got shut out and lost both those games. San Diego game, they lost really badly. That was a different time. That was Jesus Ferreira's like first few weeks on the team. He had never played with any of these guys. He had never played for another professional club other than FC Dallas. The last time he played the 9, I think, was the second San Diego game, which they won. He scored the game winner. And again, I'm just a believer in his versatility and adaptability. He'll be able to. Will it look as good as when Jordan's out there or when Moose is in there? Maybe not, but I think he can play. It's for him. It's like more of a false 9 role than like a pure target 9 situation. But I think he can do that and be effective. It's just so unfortunate. Like you said, that this was the first time that De La Vega, Morris, and Rusnak have played together. And I don't know, when was the last time they played together? Like,
I don't know.
I don't even know.
I think like Jeremiah tweeted something that it was the first time all 3 DPs had started a game since like a long time ago. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it was. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and it's going to be another minute, which is it's unfortunate, but you know, so it goes sometimes. And Moose played great in this game. No one else in the queue right now. So let's just keep cooking, Mark, because I think there's a couple other topics from this game that we could hit. Any concern about the defensive issues? They did almost blow another lead, and I'll tell you from my perspective. I think I was talking about it at the top of the show a little bit. But the first one is it's not great defending for sure. I think the guy put a move on Obed, and then Yamar doesn't block the cross, so could have been defended better. But I think there's also an element of like that's a nice play from a good offensive team. The second one, this is what bothers me about the second one. They give it up on a set piece that Chicho Arango finishes the rebound. So the set piece defending, I'd have to watch it again, I guess. Probably wasn't great if they scored off it.
Yeah, they get a shot. They get a shot off, obviously, because it is a rebound, and then he's wide open.
Right. But like what bothers me about that goal, and then also it happened at the end of the game too, and it's been happening a lot this season. The fouls that they're committing to give up these free kick opportunities when they have the lead, like it's just, I just get this sinking feeling every time they do it. When they did it and they gave them the free kick in that spot, I was like, all right. I mean, Espinoza is nasty on these free kicks, and it's just unnecessary. Like, you don't need to foul him right there, and you're laying on a platter an opportunity to give up the lead. They do give up the lead the first time off on the Chicho goal, and then at the end of the game, RBW fouls the guy I think an even more dangerous spot, and they almost blow the lead. Espinoza whams it off the post. Andy T said he got a finger to that. I don't know if that was true, but Espinoza whams it off the post, and then Joseph tries like a bicycle kick rebound that Andy T saves. That was offside, so that would not have counted. It was still a 6 save. But it's more, my thing is just like, if it was just this game, all right, maybe it's a one-off, but I feel like it's happened a lot this year where they have a lead and they are committing fouls in these spots that are just very, very dangerous. And that is a way that you put yourself in position to blow a lead, is giving other teams dangerous set pieces. Especially teams that have guys like Christian Espinoza who can hit those. So what have you made of the defense? Because for as good as the offense has been these last 3 games, they've been conceding a lot of goals as well.
Yeah, I think my optimistic side of me is like, they basically have to change the back line every game. There's no consistency. They even have to manage certain players' minutes among that kind of shuffle. Anyways, like Yamar apparently can't play a full game. Kim Keehee probably can't play a full game. He's also 36, so it's like, what's the realistic expectation for that? John Bell is kind of coming in and out of different positions and stuff like that. So there's just really no consistency back there. And the optimism is Reagan comes back, Yamar gets fit, and that's the hallmark of like a really good defense, even if we kind of account for Yamar maybe not being as good as he used to be. On top of that, I kind of agree with you in terms of like conceding dangerous set pieces, because this week they gave up 4 penalties. Like, those are the most dangerous.
That's the most dangerous set piece you can give up. Yeah. Which
so
it's
like
they didn't concede any penalties in this game.
Yeah.
Baby steps, credit where it's due.
It was like like conceding like 6 penalties in their last 6 games. So it's just like don't
famously.
And then 4 this week alone, like 4 in 4 days. You don't really want to do that.
It's wild that they've taken the results that they have with those types of like concessions.
Yeah. And then I think like a point you made earlier in the show that I think is really kind of salient when talking about periods of defensive turbulence like this is, it feels way better to me to win a game 3-2 than it does to win 1-0, even if statistically it is like the same exact thing. Actually, technically, if you win 1-0, you get a clean sheet. So maybe even that's statistically better than winning 3-2. It just feels good knowing you have the ability to go and like win a game if you have to go get another goal, rather than hanging on for dear life and waiting for the final whistle. I would even say like Wednesday, they gave up 3 goals, but it feels better, at least to me, that like, but they still scored 3 times. It wasn't like they blew like a 1-0 lead late and it ended 1-1. Like, those are my I hate those. And even if like you're like, yeah, Mark, but like giving up 3 goals is worse than giving up 1 goal. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it just feels better knowing like, hey, the Sounders still scored 3 times. Like, they can still go get all of the goals that they've got. So, it's just kind of like, I think what's really important, especially when we're considering how delicate the attack is right now, it's kind of firing on all cylinders, but like Morris's injury, like we just talked about, like, it's a delicate situation that Spencer has to figure out. We could really do with like the back line just being good again. And I think like that's probably like, come to think of it, like Smetzer was really pissed off at the referee on Wednesday because the yellow card Reagan got made him suspended for this one. And Reagan absolutely would have played the full game kind of in that left center back position. So, or maybe he slides over to replace Yamar. But yeah, it's just kind of like they could really do with, they don't really, they have one more MLS game until mid-August, which feels weird, but hopefully that amount of time gives them, like, they can get healthy. They got to figure out the Nuhu situation, even though it doesn't sound like they're really going to do anything about it. I don't know what happens there, but they have to find consistency. I thought for the most part last night, yeah, Yamar gets toasted on that first goal because he isn't as quick as he used to be. It's still a really hard finish near post.
It was a nice.
He has to flick the ball behind him to get the goal. Like, it's just one, you can kind of chalk that up. It's the second one that makes me really kind of like rub my temples, because your two center backs get beat in the air and then they're nowhere to be found after Thomas makes a save. So it's just like, ugh. Like, neither Bell nor Kim Ki-hee were particularly good on that set piece. So, but in kind of an ideal world, neither of them are playing a whole lot, right? So,
yeah.
I
thought RBW had a pretty good game, other than the that last foul that he gave up, which Schmetz was talking about at the presser as well. Like, it's still like stuff like that he needs to work out of his game. But like all the RBW mistakes that he's made this year, to me, feel like coachable. And there's still like that ball that he put over the top on who had that to Jordan, where Jordan,
he got him injured.
No, I think it was the RBW ball was the one that he took out.
Oh, the first one.
And then hit into the side netting. Yeah. But that was a great ball from RBW. And that's like, you know, RBW has been taking heat this year because of like there's been some defensive positioning issues and individual errors. But like, if you're wondering where the RBW stock comes from, if you're one of those that are like mind blown, like, why do they play this guy? Why is he such a highly rated homegrown? You watch a pass like the one he hits to Jordan on that play. That's why. Like, he can do stuff like that. Nuhu is not going to play that ball. He's not. So when you have RBW in there, you do have I think there's a potential that it could add a lot to the team if RBW develops defensively and shores up his positioning, cuts out like the ill-advised fouls that give away dangerous set pieces or penalty kicks. That could be, oh man, like if you get De La Vega firing like that, and then combining him with a more disciplined and defensive savvy RBW that can also contribute to the attack in a way that Nuhu can't, or that J Bell also doesn't if he's playing at that spot. And then you throw like the KKR factor in there, who he looks like a really fun, dynamic attacking wingback. I think there's some fun possibilities for where this offense could go. You know, even in a situation where, you know, they're scoring a bunch of goals right now, but it's like, if you get De La Vega churning, you get RBW churning, there's some fun like stuff that we could see that we haven't even yet, as far as what those two guys in particular could bring to this team. Did you have any takes on any RBW takes, and then we'll talk some Andy T maybe?
Yeah, I think the thing with RBW, he just needs a consistent run of games, and he hasn't started 2 games in a row, at least in MLS play this year. Like, either due to injury or getting suspended or rotation or whatever. He just like, if he gets like 6 starts in a row, I think a lot of those kinks, like you mentioned, are either coached out of him or he just is like becoming more and more confident if he's playing well. And I think every sign, like, I thought he was great in the Austin game, and it just so happened he gets sent off, and that just kind of like
overshadows.
Yeah, he was really good against. I thought he was great in both of the games he played in the Club World Cup. So
a lot of people disagreed with that, but like
I don't know, like
he's playing against Atletico Madrid. Like,
yeah, I like the Botafogo game. He was really good. He only plays a half in that though. So I just think like given everything with Nuhu this season, like sure, maybe there's a way back. Maybe is useful in a certain way again this season. But I think you gotta like between now and let's say like the end of August, Reed's gotta be the one starting if he can. Now things can change, like he could screw up really bad or get another suspension, and that changes the calculation there. But I just think, like I said at the beginning of the show, setting your theoretically who your best player should be, Pedro de la Vega, up for success involves playing Reed behind him. And I think you gotta lean into the attack being kind of your strength. And part of that is playing a fullback that can actually attack, and kind of going from there. Because like I mentioned, it is July 20th. There's not a lot of time to figure this stuff out. The Sounders will probably be one of the 4 best teams in the West come playoff time. So you got to kind of lean into your strengths. And I think that involves playing RBW at left back. So
they got an opportunity here before Leagues Cup starts because the next game is in Atlanta, which against an Atlanta United team, which is how do I put this? They're not very good this year. They've been one of the worst teams in the league, and I like that does not guarantee a result, especially because it's on the road. Like anytime that there's a road trip that's just that long distance wise, it's going to be difficult almost no matter how bad the opposition may or may not be. But I've watched, Mark, you know this. I watched a lot of I watched a lot of Atlanta United. Seattle, if Seattle plays to their relative potential and ability, they'll be able to compete for taking a result in that game. And if you could pick off a win there, you're in pretty decent shape on the table as far as this race for a top 4 spot, home field advantage. And then we'll see what happens with Leagues Cup. But there is an opportunity to be had to kind of maintain their standing and their pace on the table in this game. But let's talk about one thing I wanted to hit with you, Mark. And, we're coming up on an hour, so if you need to jet, feel free at any time. But this issue of the Christian Obed double pivot playing a full 90 every single game, every single week. It worked. It worked for this week. They won 2 out of the 3 games with them playing pretty much the whole time. But especially in Leagues Cup, I have to imagine that at some point they're going to get a break. And the JP injury just kind of complicates. This is what I think that one of the issues is that with the JP injury, one of your other primary reserve at that position is Danny Leva. And I don't know how much I think a Danny Leva Obed double pivot necessarily plays, because not because of like ability or anything like that. They're not complementary skill sets. You don't have a player in there of the Christian Roldan or JP skill set, which I think is kind of important for how that double pivot functions. Is it like a player of that profile? So to me, it looks like Schmetz is he's reluctant to run a Danny Leva Obed double pivot. And then you could do a Christian Danny Leva double pivot, but either way, you still have one guy in there who you need to be resting more than you have been lately. So, I mean, what do you think they do about this? Because Schmetz mentioned putting Alex Roldan in that spot, which I think it's a good bit. Like anytime you are short on depth at a position, you just plug a Roldan in there, and they will do it effectively. He's done it at center back and goalkeeper. Who's to say he can't do it at D mid? Christian's done it at right back, at number 10, at right mid. These Roldan guys, you just put them wherever and they'll be fine. But to me, it seems pretty clear that trying Alex there is the solution, because he is more of that profile of like a JP or a Christian, in that like he's a dog on defense, covers ground, good passer, stuff like that. So how do you think they should handle this issue of them having, the best double pivot in the league, but also knowing that the depth behind it seems questionable right now, and these guys need a break at some point?
Yeah, I don't think they think Leva is a defensive midfielder at the end of the day, and he just doesn't play. Like, plain and simple.
You think he's like more? They see him more as like a 10? Or?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, he starts against LAFC in that game where they get absolutely boat raced. They're playing kind of a back five in that game, and he's one of the two midfielders in that one. That's like the last we really saw him, basically. I think he gets 45 minutes somewhere here or there, but I don't think Smets sees him as like an option there. So I don't see him as an option there because he just doesn't play. So with that in mind, it's really, with the way that the Sounders set up in this system that they have, is it's really important to think about this in terms of like the partnership, and what does the partnership give you as kind of the foundation for everything that you're building on. Basically, that's how Spencer's defensive midfielders, that's their job. Basically, the reason why the Christian Obed partnership is really, really good is because the dynamics between the two play styles that the players have are just kind of like a perfect fit for each other. And I think trying to replicate that, what you end up looking towards is like, okay, Alex can kind of be like what Musovski is to Morris. Alex Roldan can kind of be that to Obed, but I don't think he can do the same thing for Christian. And so I think you just got to start figuring out, okay, like he can kind of play like Obed plays, and then Christian is so adaptable that maybe then Christian can play like Obed plays, and then you just start trying to figure out, like, try to figure it out from there. But I do think ultimately the solution here is Alex Roldan is getting minutes in midfield, which I don't feel like super great about, but it really is the only option overall. So I don't know what they're gonna do, because like this team is screwed if Christian or Obed get hurt. Like, yeah, they're screwed short term this season, and then potentially long term in terms of like looking at Obed as kind of like a little bit of a cash cow in terms of like he's going to be the next big transfer away, and then they get that money and they're able to kind of reinvest in the team, which it seems like they need that type of sale to invest in this team long term, because it doesn't seem like that money's going to come elsewhere. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a ticking time bomb, and I'm really nervous about it. And I think you got to figure out, okay, Alex can do a lot of the same things as Obed, but not as well. And so recreate that and then kind of go from there, I think. So I like Tom in the chat is 100% right. I'm more worried about the midfield than I am the 9 situation, because we've seen them solve the 9 problem all year. We don't know what happens. Like, okay, so for instance, against Colorado, I think the reason why Christian Roldan concedes a penalty in the way that he does is because he is tired.
Yeah.
And his physical limitations in that moment affect his mind because he's tired. And he shouldn't have had to be in that situation. So they're not going to play Leyva there. It doesn't seem like they're going to play anybody, but they got I'd like to see Alex start 2 of the 3 Leagues Cup games at one of the central midfield positions, just to see what it looks like, even if it's not with any, I don't care if they lose 4-0 or whatever. We just got to know what it looks like. And I can see, I can talk myself into seeing Alex can recreate some of Obed's game so he can partner with Christian. And then if we have to figure out what Alex and Obed looks like, I don't know what that looks like in my mind. I don't really like it, but we got to know what's there, because at this point, because of where we are at in the year and in the season, doing a switching up the formation is I think a terrible idea, because you're making everything else worse just to try to solve a problem. So I don't know. I'm really worried about it. I'm nervous. But maybe they just play 90 minutes for the rest of the year. And I was
gonna say, we talk about this, and then the outcome is gonna be that they just play every single minute of every game. I mean, on one level it feels untenable, and I share the concern of it's not even obviously if one of them got injured, that would be a disaster, but it's even if you have a situation where it's impossible to play them in the game or a full 90 because of they need to rotate, or it's short turnaround or whatever. We haven't seen a lot to indicate that this team can function at close to its optimum peak levels if either one of those guys are out of the lineup, which is both a testament to how elite of players they both are, and how kind of difficult it is to have guys that can play at the level that they can, because they're just that good. But it also creates a situation, especially with JP out for the year, where I don't even know. We have no idea what they would do, how it would look, how it functions.
We didn't know how Alex would look at center back until he played. And I know it was against Austin, who might set the record for least goals scored in an MLS season. Their numbers are really shocking, by the way, if you haven't.
Yeah, no, it's really bad offense.
But he was good. He was good against Austin. But what he's good at, I think, can work in that position. And they got to do something, if only to kind of buy themselves some minutes in the other two's legs, because come playoffs time, Christian might just be goosed.
Yeah. He is a physical freak. The guy, he runs too much. I wouldn't want to run that much, but it just it just feels like there's a certain point where like you said, that that PK that he gave up, that's a fatigue. Have we ever in our entire lives seen Christian Roldan do that? No. So that was very clearly a fatigue foul, and that's an issue. I think we were talking about, there's two big issues with this team right now. which is the number 9 situation with the Jordan injury, and then just the situation of the concern of overworking the double pivot, which, those are things that they're going to have to figure out. I think the 9 situation with Moose in the form that he's been in pretty much all season, I feel a little bit better about that. But everyone's got issues, and the team they're scoring a lot of goals and taking results right now. So that's always good. Mark, any last topics on this game or the season coming up here that you wanted to hit, and then I'll let you go, and I'll throw the call link in. No one's hopped in the queue yet, but I'll hang around for a few minutes after Mark takes off, and if anyone does want to hop in, I'll take a few, and then if not, I'll take an early day. That's fine. But Mark, anything else that's on your mind?
No, I enjoy when the Sounders win, and then I enjoy when Pedro de la Vega plays well. So I'm having a good time.
Yeah, no, it is a pretty good time right now. The Colorado game was a little unfortunate, but my thing is, like, I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth on the topic of, like, if you go back and listen to our shows last year during the dog days where they weren't scoring, there was a lot of us being like, all right, even if you blow a result or whatever, just like be fun to watch, score some goals, like do something that's like entertaining, and irrespective of results, we'll at least appreciate that. I said stuff like that a lot. So now that they are scoring a ton of goals, I'm not going to get too bent out of shape if there was a blown lead in there or a couple of goal concessions in there. Like you were saying earlier, like, I'll take a 3-2 game over a 1-0 game all day as far as from an entertainment and content perspective. So it is great to see the offense playing like this, producing like this. It's been fun to watch. They're scoring a lot of goals, and they're scoring good goals. So hopefully they can keep it up. Mark, thanks for hopping on and running co-host with me this morning, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get you back on here very soon, and take care.
All right. Thank you very much.
Later. That was Mark Kastner from Sounder at Heart, hopping on the show, co-hosting this post-game live for about an hour, hitting all the Seattle Sounders topics coming off a 3-2 win against the San Jose Earthquakes. I'm going to drop this call link in right now. I'll hang around for a few minutes here and see if anyone wants to tap in before I get out of here. And in the meantime, I'll take a look at chat, see where the discourse is at. Can we watch the press conferences? Interesting question right now. Actually, you will notice that I didn't play today. There's some negotiations going on about like what we are and are not allowed to play from what channels. So I'm not playing until we're not like in trouble. It's fine. But I got to figure out like what the official protocol is there. We had some content go viral that put a microscope on that. So I think one of the solutions is going to be we're going to have to film them ourselves, which, we got to get someone to do that. I can't really go to the pressers very often anymore because of my my job on the MLS editorial staff. So we'll figure that out. Yeah, fair use. I don't know if that's like technically what the issue is, but it's essentially that idea. Yep. The oligarch class once again coming after Lobbing Scorchers. I'm sorry to report. All right. Call link right here. It's 11:09 a.m. Pacific time. I'll hang out till like 11:15 or so, and then if you guys open invitation for laying down takes. So if you want to hop on, links right there. Gianni says, I don't know how Christian has been able to keep up this current level of intensity during these games. Dude's legs must feel like jello. He's a freak. I remember when he got drafted. I remember like my first interview I ever did with Christian Roldan, and I didn't know I watched his like UW highlights. I knew he was a really good college player, but I didn't know that much about like what he brought on the field. And I remember one of the things he said was like, you know, I'm not a insane physical athlete. I don't have like crazy size or anything, but no one's going to outrun me. And he has kept to that his entire career. He never stops running. It was the era where he and Ladero were both like at their peak on this team. It was so crazy to watch sometimes because Ladero also never stops running. Just two guys who never stops running. All right, hell yeah, we got Gianni tapping in. Gonna bring him to the stage right now. Gianni, what's up, man? Thanks for tapping in as always. 3-2 win over the San Jose Earthquakes. And I got to get your takes on this De La Vega breakout because you and I were talking on the last call-in show about where the stock was at and how the stock was not where it needed to be for a $7 million DP. I think it's fair to say that he needs to sustain what we saw last night going forward. But wasn't it incredible to see him actually look like a $7 million player that like we were talking about, took over the game, dominated the game, impacted the game, and won them the game-winning goal. Like, what did you think of that?
It was phenomenal. Honestly, like that's the best I've seen him play all year, obviously.
All his
like,
entire Sounders career, yeah. Easily his best game.
I think it definitely helps that he plays a lot more like an inverted winger than I think we've seen him be able to effectively play as on that right-hand side. So him being able to cut in onto his right and be both goal dangerous while also being able to make some of the passes like into the box where he's drawing defenders to him was a really nice thing to see. I don't think I ever want to see him back on that right-hand side. I want to see him get more minutes out here on this left-hand side. And
why did it take so long to put him out there?
Dude, I don't know. Like, because he played a lot of his time on the left when he was in Argentina.
Yes. And that was like where he was good, as I understand it. I don't know. I didn't follow like his time there that much, but it seems like that is where he was most effective in Argentina. And it was just such like a wild contrast how he looked out there compared to how he's looked on the right. It felt like just like a light bulb, like, oh, has that been it this whole time?
Yeah, it's like that's literally the only issue is that he's able to perform on the left and his ability to perform drops precipitously once he's on the right. I don't know why this is the first time we're seeing this. Like, we've been trying to get him going all season long, and we just never thought like, hey, let's put him where he was playing well when it's like. And
you had like you had Sounder at Heart talking about it. You had Doyle writing in all caps in his columns, "Play this man on the left."
Yeah,
and they didn't do it until. I mean, at least they did it. At least we saw what it can look like because now they're definitely going to keep running that more.
Yeah, I know. And,
it's going to be fun to see how much that can raise the ceiling.
Yeah, and I know Schmetzer does not like playing with his wingers inverted. He does not like that. He wants the right-footed player on the right, and he wants the left-footed player on the left.
He's going to have to learn to love it.
I know. He's like, sometimes you have to teach this old dog a new trick.
Yeah. But
but I think it also allows for an interesting opportunity for our wingbacks. Because by allowing Pedro to cut in from that left-hand side, it frees up the rest of that channel for Reed to come forward if that's something that we're going to try and do. Like when Nuhu's back on the field, which that Schmetzer's eventually going to put him back on the field, I think that is a little less valuable. But it does still open up some space that I think we've been underutilizing.
The potential of a RBW De La Vega left-sided combination.
I want it so bad.
It could be fire.
So bad.
It could be fire.
Yeah.
In just a whole different way than what any setup with Nuhu in there could look like.
Yeah.
Because RBW, I mean, you saw that pass he had over the on the first chance that Jordan had. That was so good. Like that's the type of stuff that's in RBW's bag. So I want to see him run it with De La Vega on the left, RBW and KKR.
Yeah. And then like maybe throw Paul on the right, or if Kent can get going, like I'd love to see what Kent can do from the right hand side.
Maybe that's the I didn't even think of that.
Just flip them both.
That's the key. You just flip Kent and De La Vega profit. Yeah. But I mean, even if it's Ferreira in that wide channel, I've really liked how he's been playing over the last 3-4 weeks or so. It seems like he's figured out that
he's like starting to build a little bit of chemistry, and he looks better. Like just this past couple of weeks is like a switch flip for him or something. Like I don't know what it is, but he's like, it feels like he's kind of finding his groove.
I think he's figured out how he fits into this team from that position, which I think looking back on it, when they made that trade, I was like, I feel like this should pay off pretty fast because he's been so versatile throughout his FC Dallas career. And he's always been a very unselfish player that Jesus Ferreira cares more about assists than scoring goals himself. Like that's just how he's wired. So I loved the idea when they made the trade. We were saying it the whole time of like how a player like that who's that adaptable and you can kind of slide in theoretically anywhere could fit into this attack. And then it took a while. I think it took longer than I thought for him to be able to figure out exactly how he's most effective within this like personnel, this group of players.
Yeah.
And what I think we're seeing is that he's used those adaptable attributes and that versatility to suss it out, figure out like what the best role is, how he's most effective, how he combines with everyone the best. And so we're seeing him look a lot more dangerous in that way. And then we're also finally seeing the goal production in the last few weeks, which that's been the main thing where I look at it and I'm like, all right, it wasn't necessarily ideal that it took like 3 or 4 months of the season for him to start scoring goals. But now he's up to he's got 11 goal contributions, all comps. So that's looking good. The offense just looks really good right now. It does.
Like, I mean, 3 goals in 3 games, can't
argue with that.
7 points. Like, what are you gonna like? It'd be nice if we weren't giving up like 8 goals in that time. But
it would be nice. It would be nice if they didn't have
blood pressure would probably be a little lower.
Yeah, it would be nice if they hadn't had a run of games where they got 5 red cards and conceded 6 penalties in 6 games. That would have been nice, but they are taking the results. No penalties, no ejections. It was phenomenal to see them make it through a game without both of those things. They did give up the set piece goal, but that's if you win the game, I can forgive that. They did win the game.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was good to see. I mean, outside of De La Vega, what did you see in this game that you liked or didn't like?
We need to get better on our set piece deliveries. These things are just not good right now. And Albert was really good from dead balls last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. He was nails on those free kicks last year. Like he got so many assists from direct free kicks. Corner kicks not as much as I understand. Corners have been like an ongoing issue for us, both on offense and defense. Like for some reason we don't defend set pieces well, and our corner kicks are just never really threatening.
I think the set piece issue in general is one that I hadn't brought up yet, but there's just like they set benchmarks of like how many set piece goals that they want to or need to hit in a given season. This season, I don't think they're anywhere like
Not even close.
in the ballpark of that. And then, like you mentioned, they're also giving up a fair amount of goals off set pieces, which is its own issue. But yeah, I did love the Rusnak assist last night because that was the type of stuff that he was that wide service is one of his best attributes, and I feel like he's gotten his assists this year, but we haven't seen that particular type of assist as much. Just whipping the ball in there right on Moose's head, perfect delivery. That was good to see, and I know he's a good free kick taker. He has been his whole career, and those things can be a high variance thing. I'll say that, but that's another thing that would help a lot.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because I know it's not just this year; it was last year too. Like our our corner kick specifically, like we are just not threatening. And I don't know, is this like a service issue or is this just like we are not getting like guys running to the ball? We're not picking up second balls. I don't really know. Like it doesn't really seem like the ball is getting to the player that we're looking for most of the time. And some of those balls were just like blown like past everyone towards the garbage zone, like going out of bounds. And it might just come down to the delivery that you use for a free kick and the delivery that you use for a corner kick are not the same. And I'm wondering if the way that Albert is shaping the ball for his corner kicks is just not effective.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I might do is watch some Minnesota United film. I don't know if you've been following this at all, but if you look at their set piece numbers,
they just like long throws for days.
There's that, but also their free kick routines and their corner kicks. They are like statistically, I think the most productive set piece team in the world.
Yeah.
Like
in the world. Okay.
Like in terms of how many goals they generate off those situations. Like statistically, if they're not number one in the world, they're like up there. They got like a whole feature in the Guardian about how they've just figured out set pieces, and they're such a weird team because they're hyper elite on set pieces. They're having the best set piece season any MLS club has ever had, and then they also do the weird Eric Ramsey anti-possession tactics.
Yeah.
So that's like maybe if they just copy something the Loons are doing, they'll score more off those. But no, I agree with that. And also, what do you make of the defense right now, just in general, about talking about those goals conceded? But they do blow the lead in the Colorado game, and then they almost blew this lead. Like Espinoza whams that off the post. That could have easily been the equalizer. What do you see that's concerning, or do you think needs to get better on that side of the ball?
Concerning, obviously, that we're giving up this many goals. It seems like every time Yamar comes off the field, like within the span of a couple of minutes, they score. So having Yamar on the field, I mean, I think they got their first goal while he's out there, but he's really like, I didn't realize how, like, we know he's good. I didn't realize how much of a step down it is once he's off the field. And I mean, like, we were playing Jay Bell back there. I love KKR. So, like, I don't really think that there's a huge drop from Alex to KKR, but there's like a little bit of a defensive.
I think defensively there probably is a little bit.
Yeah.
Like KKR is a much more dynamic attacker, but Alex is just nails on defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're playing a little bit more aggressively, and it's kind of showing up on the score sheet, but also we're playing down like one of our best center backs. And then we're playing with a bit more of an aggressive wing back. So I think you kind of are opening yourself up a little bit there. But I honestly think if once Yamar's back to 90 minutes fit, I think it'll probably help a lot of those issues. I don't really want to see Jonathan Bell as a center back anymore. He was getting turned a little too easily on some of those balls in behind. I can't remember if any of those ended up in the back of the net, but there were a couple of times where like he just got spun too easily.
Yeah, I don't think they got any goal. The goals they got were the one that the left back shot by Obed, and then Yamar
Yeah.
didn't block the cross, and then they get the set piece goal. But it was, I mean, that game could have had more goals on both sides. Could have had more goals. J Bell had the one off the post. That was almost a Ferreira assist. That was a nice play. I wanted that one to go in, and then Andy T had to make some.
He was huge,
crazy saves. Yeah, what do you think of the Andy T stock right now?
He's a very aggressive goalkeeper, and it's very exciting. It that goes both ways. Like as an aggressive goalkeeper, you can make some mistakes. Like, I mean, he comes out really aggressively like he did in the midweek game, and he gives up a penalty, but then he comes up with these dynamic saves, which are like actually adding to the expected goals against stats, your goals versus expected goals given. So I've been enjoying it. I am looking, like, obviously Steph is 39 now, so there's probably not a ton of time left for him on the team, and I am not concerned about goalkeeper like once he retires. Like, I think Andy T is good enough that I think with more experience, he's just ready-made. Slot him in.
Yeah, no, I agree, and he's so athletic. Well, like one of the first things that I like noticed when I started going to training day to day when I was back on the beat was like the goalkeepers are low key some of the most athletic guys on the team. Like if you think about like the kind of nimbleness and flexibility and like jumping around that you have to do, watching it up close is like it's so impressive. Andy T has like some of the springiest, like he's just like he's got hops. Like I didn't realize he was like that. But yeah, no, he's been great.
Yeah, I've also really liked how aggressive he is coming out to claim crosses.
Yeah,
because he gets out there, and there was one he just like two-fisted that thing out of the 18-yard box, and I think it was collected, and I think they came back and tried to put a shot on frame. But it's nice to know that he's going to come out and make it more difficult for the opposing forwards to get their head on the ball.
Yeah, no, he is aggressive goalkeeper is the right term for him. Gianni, I got a couple people now in the queue behind you, but any last thoughts, takes, or observations that were on your mind before we go to the next caller?
Not too much. It's nice to see the boys continuing to put the ball in the back of the net. I don't know if 3 goals per game is sustainable. And I don't know what our longest run of scoring 3+ goals in a game is, but I'd like to.
Yeah. Let's find out. Extend it in Atlanta. That sounds good to me. All right. Well, Gianni, thanks as always for tapping in. Appreciate you, man. And we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you later, Ari.
Yeah. Take care. All right. We got Mish up next, and then Jack after that. Mish does not have video going, so just gonna bring to the stage, and hope you can hear me. Mish, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I got you.
Awesome.
What is going on? How are you feeling after a 3-2 win over San Jose last night?
No, man. I mean, it was a really good game. I really enjoyed the play. Some of it was really good. Some of it was really bad. So, as it goes.
Yeah. What did you think of the offense? You know, like you said, there was some positives and negatives. Positives: 3 goals.
Yes.
Moose brace. And De La Vega breakout game. They do concede 2 goals, almost blow the lead at the end. Where are you at in terms of what you saw on offense versus the defensive pressure they were under at the end?
Yeah, so at the beginning, I was really intrigued by the lineup that Brian put up, especially thinking that it was going to be a rotation, and kind of he did like half rotation, and then assumed like he was going to use 5 subs to do the rest of the rotation depending on the game. But then Morris got knocked out like second minute of the game. And that was just crazy, especially with him just being back. Because also like I see there's the connection between Ferreira and Morris seems to be like getting really good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like he goes out and then he brings Musovski, and it's like almost that kind of style of play has just left the field. Because a couple of times Ferreira had tried to catch the Moose somewhere here and there, but it's like they're not on the same page. So then De La Vega just steps up and like does really well all of a sudden. Like it seems like the team was kind of expected them to be disappointed when Morris got out, but then they also like collectively stepped up to get up to the game. And I feel like that there was energy there that was awesome.
That's a good point, actually. Like when you have a player get injured like that, especially like you said, Jordan Morris just coming back, it can be like demoralizing on the field for the other players, and it can sometimes affect how they play, at least in the short term. And I thought outside of the response from San Jose scoring first, they also after Jordan went down, they scored. Moose scored right away. So that was, I think, like an example of some mental fortitude that has perhaps been lacking in recent weeks with the 5 red cards and 6 penalties.
Yes.
So that was another good aspect of the performance offensively. But what do you think got into De La Vega? Is it as simple as what we've been talking about with him moving to the left and playing his more natural position, or just more confident? What do you think?
Yeah, if you look back when he did really well against LAFC the first time, he was also playing that position. I feel like that's kind of his comfort zone. But because the competition is high on the left side now, like kind of we're stuck with like a lot of good players on that position between Rathrock, Kent, and him. So it seems like as Brian is trying to find him in another spot, just like he's doing with Ferreira, putting him on the right. So being in that position seems like, oh, he found the ball again. And like with the space and how open the game was, and how each team was really trying to get after it, it seemed like it was just like the perfect storm for him to get that grip on the ball and actually like feel like he belongs. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know.
Yeah, he just looked so much more comfortable, was finding the ball more. He was finding space to run a lot more. And then that shot that he hit was just
Yes.
it's an insane shot. Like,
and he dribbled a couple of times too. So it's like that we haven't seen that in a while.
You know what was crazy about that shot is you could tell he knew it was in as soon as he hit it. You know how when like a baseball player like sits there and watches it and like flips the bat, like he was like celebrating before that ball even went in. That must have been a good feeling. Like
yes, I'm hoping we can see more of this. But now, like, okay, the real question is like, okay, what are we gonna do on the left side? Because all of our big performers are on the left between those 3. I mean, Kent still hasn't really shined up again, but potentially given the chance, he might. But I don't know depth. But I don't know with Brian's stuff. It's like it's crazy. I mean, I could think, he can think, but at the end, it's Brian what is gonna do what Brian does. So
exactly, yeah. All right, Mish. Well, I got a couple calls behind you, but any last thoughts or takes or observations you wanted to get out there, either about this game or the stretch run of the season coming up here?
No, I mean, it seems like Brian wouldn't do a lot of rotation at the moment. I hope he's not he's betting that we're just gonna leave after the group stage and Leagues Cup and get the rest we want. So he's pushing the team now. But defensively, as crazy as has been, I feel like the last couple minutes of yesterday's game, we held up our ground very well, especially with Andrew Thomas. He's doing very well, although like with the lack of experience. But man, what more can you ask of the guy?
Yeah, he gives up the penalty in the Colorado game, but other than that, like exactly, like he having to step in and deputize like this when he hasn't played a lot.
From Martinez, that was boss level.
That was awesome, and he made a few of them. But all right, Mish, thank you so much for calling in. Great stuff.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, take care. We'll catch you next time.
See you.
All right, we got Jack up next, then we got Hunch after that. Jack's got his video going, and can you hear? Yeah, he's got the thumbs up. He's got the guitars in the background. Jack, how is it
what up,
going?
Ari? Long time, first time. Happy to
Yeah.
be here.
Thanks for tapping in. How are you feeling after a 3-2 victory over San Jose?
I mean, I'm feeling great. I mean, it was a ton of fun to watch. I mean, it's great to see Pedro step up and do what we all have been wanting him to do for ages. I think for him too, it's like finally getting to see him get one of those bangers and have it count.
Yes,
it's so nice because he had that one in the Champions Cup game. They got called off for not his offside, but someone else barely being offsides, and then that one last year in Leagues Cup where he had that like crazy curler that was called off for the Obed offsides.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about
one of those where
those.
like he gets the full celebration, it actually fully counts. I mean, yeah, it just feels good to see that.
That's a good pull because when we talk about his lack of production, it is true. Like he's had like almost 50 games, all comps with the club, and it was like 5 goals, 3 assists or something coming into last night's game. But he has been like so unlucky, so snake bit. There was the incredible Leagues Cup goal he scored last year. There was the one and the one that you mentioned as well. What was the second one? Oh, the freaking Cruz Azul game.
Yeah, the Cruz Azul, like it's like that would have like that
could have changed the whole series.
The whole thing, yeah. Like because if we come out of that game 1-0, I mean that just makes the whole game in Mexico look different. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's like, and that was a pretty rough one. But yeah, good to see that. I mean, even without the hair, he still has the power. So good to see that. Like, I wonder, like, so I think someone alluded to this in chat, if like part of him not playing over there is the whole Nuhu situation where it's like, I cannot see them playing on that side together. Like, that's just really hard to envision that working out in any way.
But like, I mean, as far as the idea of Nuhu combining with any left winger as like an attacking duo, I don't know if there's much, if it's like, it makes a difference if it's De La Vega or anyone else in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like Kent seemed to make it work at least for.
Oh yeah, that is true.
But then I wonder if that's almost hurt Kent too, where like that was his like introduction into like his like combination with the team is with Nuhu, but like that was like kind of like that wasn't going to do well for him long term, I think, with the team, like in terms of like, building attacking chemistry and everything. But I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what ends up happening over there.
Gianni's asking about the timeline for the Morris injury, so that can lead us into this next topic, recovery time. I didn't say the recovery time. We don't know that yet. But
I've been seeing people say 8 weeks, but I think that's just people speculating on like the type of surgery.
Anytime I hear surgery, I'm thinking 4 to 6 minimum. That's just usually what we're talking about. And then depending on the severity of the AC injury, it could be longer than 4 to 6. It's a long-term injury, guys. Like it's not like he's gonna be back for Atlanta type situation, like, which sucks. But Jack, what did you make of the Moose brace? Moose is up to 8 goals, 2 assists this year. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I think I'm with everyone where like, had that moment earlier on the season where like we just need to get anyone else out there instead of him, and then he just like fully proved all of us wrong.
He did.
So yeah, it's been great to see. He just keeps putting it up. I mean, I think that goes credit to having both Rusnak and De La Vega putting in good service for him. But I mean, he was able to get it. Like those are some tough headers to get to, and he just put those right away. So,
especially the first one.
Yeah, seriously. So that's like really good work on his part to run in there and get those and take those down. So yeah, I mean, definitely feel like good with him there, especially with all the attacking power behind him. But like, I don't know if like, are we going to get like Osaze a little more of a run? Like, is he going to get some try? Because like, I mean, if Ferreira is kind of solidifying himself on that right-hand side, it's like, yes, he can like step in and do the 9 role as well, but it seems like he's better suited on that right side at least now. So do we at least, let Osaze get a try to see? I mean, if everyone else is kind of firing behind him, like if he can put some stuff away too, that feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good question, because the way I'm thinking of it right now is that this is what I expect Schmetz to do, which is, Moose is the starter, but in the Moose contingency situation, it'll be just Ferreira sliding over. That's what I think he's going to do. But what he could and arguably should do is run Osaze a little more and just see if it works. There are opportunities, especially with Leagues Cup coming up.
I mean, if he got his first goal that he should have gotten, like I feel like I wonder like what that changed, like him being just put out there more.
I think it would.
Like he really, yeah. He's, I mean, that's like pretty much the only chance he's like actually had. I mean, he's been run out for a little bit, but in terms of like a clear-cut chance, I mean, he's maybe had a couple others, but yeah, like I mean, I think that definitely changes it if in his first 5 minutes of playing he got a goal.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about the one he skied and whatever. I do think that if he puts that away, it does change like the whole narrative, and people are like, "Oh, give Osaze more run." I think that I would hope that they at least find some opportunities to at least try that and see if there's anything there, and see if that's something that you can go to in a situation where Moose is unavailable or needs to rotate out or whatever the case may be, because it just feels like you do need to be more than 2 deep at that position. You need a third option that you can go to that you can credibly believe will perform. And right now I think it's sort of up in the air what that would be beyond Moose and then false 9 Ferreira, which I'm not like super against that. I think that it's something that he can do. But I think you're right. He is kind of finding his coming into his own in that wide channel. So I think that, and what we were talking about with the double pivot. What do you make of that situation with Christian and Obed famously?
I mean, I mean it's rough. I mean, like you'd love to see Christian get a break. I mean, I think it's just like I think Schmetz seems to have maybe alluded it might happen during Leagues Cup, but like
I think it has to.
Yeah, like,
but then, so what do you do? What do you do in?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think of the options you have, I think trying Alex out there is not. I think that might be one of the best things to at least give it a shot, and it's like maybe do that in Leagues Cup where it's like you're not as worried versus like. I think he has been like they're stressing about getting some results right now to climb up a bit, make up for some lost ground. So I think he's like kind of pushing hard there. But yeah, maybe try that out in Leagues Cup. Yeah, JP going down is just super rough because like I mean you could just definitely tell some of these last games it would have been great to be able to just slot him in there. And then I mean I think it adds like pressure to try and like if you're gonna fill a slot, like you gotta get some backup there because like also like I mean Obed's probably gonna be gone sooner rather than later. So you need to fill something in there. So yeah, hopefully they can figure something out. But for like what the piece that they have right now, I think try Alex out and let's just see. I mean, he's played every other position, so
exactly. Let him if you have injuries, if you have a questionable depth situation, you just plug a Roldan in there and it's fine. That's just they've been doing it for years. They just did it a couple weeks ago at center back. So I think they are gonna try that. But I mean, I guess like an Alex Roldan, Danny Leva double pivot. Is that what we're talking about? Like,
I mean,
I'm okay with
hopefully, if you try it out, you're maybe slotting him in with Obed to at least try it. Like, not doing a full switch up there if you're gonna. But I mean, like, I guess like when you have to try it out at some point. Yeah, but like, I mean, other than that, like, I don't really know, like, because like, I mean, you can't have Danny Leva resting both of them, and I think they don't trust him to come in for Christian's role. It doesn't seem
he's just not that type of player. Yeah. Like the kind of the conclusion I've come to with it is that the whole kind of idea of the double pivot is that you have differing complementary skill sets. And if you have like the same type of player in there, it's probably not going to function at as high a level. So that's sort of what they have to figure out is I don't think it's like a Schmetz doesn't trust Danny Leva. He's played Danny Leva a lot.
I think they like him more at the 10 subbing in for
more advanced role. But like if they are going to play Danny Leva in the double pivot, to me it seems pretty clear they want it to be with a partner who complements his skill set and doesn't have the same skill set. I think a Danny Leva Obed double pivot, they're too similar in their types of profile.
And I think even just having like a more senior player too, I think like having complementary in terms of just like their MLS experience, like just having someone that is a little more senior in there with the younger guy, that could be part of it as well. But yeah, just the profiles for them, they just don't seem to line up in the same way.
Whereas Alex is more of the profile that you're.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I guess we never seen him. I don't think he's ever played that role.
Not in MLS, but he was a central midfielder at Seattle U. I want to say he was more advanced.
He's probably more of a Yeah,
he was
I
more
mean,
of like a
what,
10, but like
yeah.
but it did play deeper. Like
Well, what was he
more of a,
for? Was it El Salvador, right? Where he was
that he was like a winger or a
is he a
10.
winger?
Like
Yeah,
he was
yeah, he was
they
more
had
attacking
him
than that.
attack
Yeah,
like a pure attacker,
yeah.
which is
And I
what
guess
he was in college.
And I guess like kind of on that line, if we're looking to so for the left back position, if we're trying to move off a Nuhu, what do we think about either of the Pauls sliding into that role? Obviously, Ariel is not able to do that now, but like
For what position, sorry?
for like the fullback position on the left side.
I like the idea of either of the Pauls at fullback. Areola, that was something that I was actually expecting him to do at times
Yeah,
this
'cause, like
year.
he was playing the wing back position, so like I feel like sliding him back just a little further. I feel like that seems
It's logical, and I
pretty
think you could
doable.
say the same thing for Rothrock. And I think Rothrock's skill set is, it lends itself to a
He's
wing
got the
back.
motor for it.
He's
Yeah,
got the motor. He presses. He works hard on defense. I think he's not like a elite 1v1 defender, but he scraps and he gets after it. So that all makes sense. And then he's dangerous from out wide. He has really
yeah.
good service from out wide and can make runs
Especially if
forward.
Pedro being a little more central too. So I think it
Yeah.
allows like Paul to kind of fully get on the wings. Like I don't know. I think it could be interesting to see. I think you'd feel better about it once you have Jackson and Yamar kind of fully back in the back line. Like
Yeah.
once that gets a little more solidified. I mean, that hasn't felt fully solid in like 2 months. So it'd just be nice to have like feel some more comfort back there before you try something out like that. But I don't know. Like I mean, if we're trying to figure out where everyone fits in, getting all the best players on the field at the same time, like maybe trying him back there could be good.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty into that idea as far as ways to if you want a left back option in there that sort of it's like a medium between RBW being super good in attack but making some defensive errors.
Yeah, and like
But
Paul,
then
like,
Nuhu
being
being a better defender, but like giving you nothing in attack. So
yeah,
it's maybe that's the middle ground.
Yeah, that could work out. I don't know. Yeah, just be nice to see. And then next year, like when like Paul Ariel is back, I mean, you're gonna have to find some role for him in like that left winger position. Like you just can't add him into the depth chart there because that's just too deep already. So, and they're not really doing like the 3-4-3. They're not doing too much of that anymore. So I don't know. I got to find some spots for him.
Yeah, wing back Pauls. I like the idea. Jack, I got Hunch in the queue behind you, but any last thoughts, takes, or observations about this game or the season going forward that were on your mind?
No, I mean, just happy to see a team that actually goes out there and scores goals. It's definitely been a lot more fun. It's been way more fun going to games this season. Even like the bad games have been like fun. Like the Minnesota game was the most fun loss I think I've ever been to.
If you're going to lose some games over the course of the season, but if you, I think we can all live with it a lot more if they're being entertaining, they're scoring goals, like a shootout type game where you lose 3-2 or 4-3. That's way more like it's easier to take than like 1-0 where you want to gouge your eyes out the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the hot sauce is good. Love that shit.
Oh, so, hell yeah. Thank you so much for copping that. Appreciate you. Jack, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll catch you next time. Call in again, please.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, catch you next time.
Yeah, take care. Thanks to Jack for hopping on there. We got Hunch in the queue. He's the last one. I'll drop the link in one more time. If anyone else after Hunch wants to jump on, I'm good to take a couple more, but if not, we'll wrap it up with Hunch right here. Hunch, I got you on the stage. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What is up, man? How are you feeling after a 3-2 win over San Jose?
It's hard to know anymore. Happy, of course, with the wins and the trend overall, which is interesting. But I'm going to come back to that. I want to start with sort of like specific performances, and then we'll go back to grand scheme, I think. But overall positive, I think, just in general. I mean, who's going to complain about a win?
A win where they score 3 goals, there's not much to complain about.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, individual players, I thought Danny had, he obviously balled out a brace in less than 90. I mean, how can you argue with that? And maybe he had a chip on his shoulder saying, okay, bring me off the bench. Just watch this. I don't know. But he played like he was a man on a mission, I think. And I'm glad for him, especially considering his career best year already.
Yeah, no, Moose has been on fire like pretty much all season when he's gotten his opportunities. Like,
Yeah.
And after that brace, he's got 8 goals, 2 assists, and it gives you more. I think it gives you more confidence that the attack can keep producing with Jordan out again. It just sucks because I mean, obviously Jordan just got back, and he's looked great this year when he's played. Like it's not like an issue of that. It's just like a cursed year for him, I guess. He's just really unlucky. But
yeah.
What else did you see?
I thought Jesus had a good game. I know he didn't, he didn't have the Danny type performance, but I still thought he did well. Which went along with, I thought Rusnak had a pretty good game as well, or a very good game as far as that goes. You pointed out earlier, and I'll even go further. He does well in wide positions. That cross, he was out wide, and back when they were in, was it Kansas City? Where Jesus scored. Jesus had tucked up underneath and passed it out to Rusnak, who was wide, who then assisted back to Jesus for the goal.
Yeah.
So Rusnak does well wide, but I think given his goal scoring, tendencies, he finds himself wanting to be in the middle for the shots as well. So I think he plays conflicted a little bit, but it's also where we start him. We start him in the middle. So he has ownership of that space, but you can see how Jesus and him swapping, especially in the flow of the game, has been productive.
Yeah, that cross that Rusnak puts in on the Moose goal is one that wide service, like where he ranges out that far but can still hit it like on a dime. That's, I think, one of his best attributes is his ability to send that service in, and like that pass you cannot hit. You can't place it any better. So yeah, it was Rusnak. It was good to see him get another goal contribution, 17 for the year. So he's on pace for another year where he's going to put up some crooked numbers, which that's what you want. What did you think of the De La Vega breakout, Hunch? I gotta ask.
So a couple things. One, we need to cool our jets. Kent had an amazing game at the beginning, and we've gone over him since. We need to see consistency from Pedro De La Vega, but I'm big on him. We talked a couple weeks ago that last year was a nothing year. It was did not count. And from the perspective of the organization, they were getting him healthy, they were getting him fit. He's definitely grown in stature in terms of just, you can see that he is in a different physical shape from when we got him. And he's a kid. I mean, this is the first time, to my knowledge, that he's left his country. He's here. He had to make all the adjustments last year. He was injured. He comes with a $7 million price tag, whether he wanted it or not. So, he's walking around the organization where knowing he's got the internal pressure. Like last year, to me, just, I'm throwing it away. And this year is the production, we're trying to carve him out of wood here. Like, and we're going to see where we get. And this whole year, I think, is an experiment to do exactly that. And I mean, you hear Brian talk about him. That seems to be the approach, is like, we're seeing what we can do. We're seeing if he's improving, which he's committing in practice and on the field. And as long as we continue to see those results, that's what we're hopeful for. But I think there's a little bit of experimentation and a little bit of like mentoring, or however you want to put it, in terms of just trying to grow him as a player and not just expect that, he's a solution automatically. So I'm hopeful, still big on it, and I'm still want to see this year play out. But you can see that we've got a high ceiling here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, we should, and this is directed at myself. We should learn from the Ryan Kent situation, in that, like, I've been saying I fully stand by our evaluation of the first couple Ryan Kent games. He looked absolutely incredible in those games. He was flat out dominant. But we do need to see De La Vega sustain it over like the course of a full complement of games and minutes before we declare it a true full-on breakout. But what was so encouraging to me was just the fact that he can do that,
Yes.
like that. Both of the goal contributions he got, the assist was a fantastic pass to be able to pick that out, and then the technique on that with the Jordan Morris like outside of the foot, like that is a picture perfect dime. And then the goal is absolutely world class. Like that is a finish where any league in the world, if you saw a guy do that, you would be like, that is a world class goal.
He set that up. Yeah. He set that up at midfield. You can watch it.
Yeah.
He receives the ball. He's attacking down the left. He already knows. He's got the defender with him. He knows as soon as he makes the one touch to turn the defender and the defender turns his back away from him, it's one touch to the inside. The defender does not have a time to reset, and he instantly shoots the ball to the top right corner. He knew exactly where he wanted to be. He knew exactly when he wanted to turn that defender, and he knew exactly when that moment happened, it was going to be an immediate shot, and all of it was executed. Like he knew at midfield what he was going to do when he made that attack run. If it opened up for him, like if the defender closes him down, obviously, he could modify, and that's the confidence we want to see from him. But if that's also his comfort level, then let's get him a little more comfortable. Let's give him those opportunities to settle, because when he does that, he plays confidently. I know I'm being redundant here, but it's I think he's been shaky since last year, and it has to do with all the things, moving here, language, being healthy, not healthy, having results in the games. Like I think a little bit of him having high performances will mature him and bring him along that much quicker.
Yeah. So, and I think what we're going to see, to a Creature's comment in chat, I think he's definitely going to get run here, like that, especially with Leagues Cup coming on. Like everyone's going to be playing, but I think just how good he looked at that left wing spot. You're right. Like it's such a potential game changer for the ceiling of this team if he can look anywhere like close to that consistently.
Yeah,
I mean,
the problem is I think if we have more competition for one spot on this team, it's left winger. And so that's not great.
If he plays like that, he's going to win that competition.
Yes,
that's the thing. Like, as somebody who has been saying, like, it makes perfect sense that Paul Rothrock has been a starter on this team lately because of the end product that he's offering and just how he looks. De La Vega offers just an entirely different upside than really anyone else. Ryan Kent is skill set and his whole thing in theory is comparable to De La Vega, but in terms of what we've seen in recent weeks and how De La Vega looked last night, where he took over the game and won Seattle the game, that's just a different level, I think, than anyone else that we've seen in that spot.
Well, there's a lot of opportunity and flexibility here. So let's say you start Pedro out on the left. You could start Kent on the right just to see what he does. I don't know what Paul would do on the right. You obviously could have Jesus on the right. There's a lot of opportunity there, but let's say you bring Rusnak off, in the 70th, and let's say you started Jesus. Well, you take Jesus from the right, you tuck him inside, bring him central, and then you bring on anybody else on that right side, Rothrock, Kent, whomever. Like there's opportunity for flexibility, especially with the complementary styles of Rusnak and Jesus. I mean, you sub either one of them off, although, hey, I don't think, well, as we discussed, Rusnak on the wing does really well as well. I just don't think we're putting anybody in the middle. It's more of you bring somebody on to bring him off, slide. Well, opportunity, flexibility.
I kind of like the idea of flipping Ryan Kent to the other side now. It worked with De La Vega. You switch sides and he looked incredible. Maybe that's what it takes to get Ryan Kent back looking like Ryan Kent again.
It really feels like Kent is in his own head to me. Like it just feels like he's trying too hard when he's taking those guys on, like because they're double and triple teaming him, and he's like, "Well, I still have to win this battle." It's like you don't.
You can you've recycle it. Open. Yeah, pull it back.
You pulled someone open if 3 people are marking you. There's at least 2 other people on the field who do not have a defender on them right now.
Yeah, and like I've been kind of attributing that issue with him to like a team-wide like inability to adjust to how teams scouted him up and are attacking
That too.
him. But it's like it is his individual situation, decision making does play into the situation.
Well,
Like,
I think he has some of that same mentality as maybe Pedro had, and that is like, I'm coming in, maybe with the price tag, maybe with this expectation, I need to perform that level. I can't be giving the ball up. I can't be thinking about pass first. I need to win this. I need to show my skill. And what he did in those first couple of games, because people were surprised by him, well, now they've adjusted. And
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are. If a team's going to dedicate 3 and 4 people to you, there may be 1 or 2 people in the world who could handle that.
Yeah. But like the reason that it's a dangerous defensive strategy to send 2-3 guys at one person is because it unbalances you and it leaves other people with space, and it can create opportunities. The onus is on the team that is getting hit with the double and triple teams to like take advantage of that.
And it depends on where on the field you do it too. If they close him down in midfield, then there's plenty of risk to be taken behind them, because you're not bringing your center backs to be one of those 2 or 3 people. You're bringing your midfielders, your outside winger, maybe a forward. They can afford to expend that because you're not jeopardizing the back line.
Yeah.
But if they do it deep in the field, then there's a problem. Although they still have done that, but they bring someone from up top.
I feel like that's what they're doing more. It's when he's like out. It's like when he's out on the flank trying to cut inside, like into the box and get service in there. And what teams are doing is, I mean, they have his 1v1 defender,
right?
But then they'll send another guy, or like every team. I think some team figured this out, and every other team has copied it. They play zone defense behind him.
Yeah.
Like they have a guy floating behind him, and if he does make it by the first guy, or in some cases the double team, then they have another guy.
Exactly. He'll shed one of the 2.
Yeah.
One will stick with him, but they're aware of that. And then as soon as he shed the one, another one will come back and be the second. Like they down that right side or left side in his perspective, they're prepared to constantly have a swinging 2 people coming that way, as long as he doesn't break free of all of them. But yeah. So I still big on Kent. I just think he needs to figure it out. There's same situation, new to the country, new to this amount of travel, had a couple years off or however much time he had at his last club, and brought in with some like, hey, we expect a lot out of you kind of situation, which that's fair, but I just don't feel like he's still settled. It's been rubber banding for him, up and down, up and down. I'd like to see him like level out, and I think like if he's around till next year, which they asked him at the business meeting. I mean, it sounds like his contract is only this year. He says he wants to stay, but if we have Areola coming back and him back and Rothrock and we put Pedro over there, unless they find different positions, I don't know how that works out. I guess
they have to if they want to keep him, they just have to do some roster maneuvering. They can't have Paul Areola come back on the books and also have Ryan Kent's hit and then still be cap compliant. So they have to. I mean, I think what could affect this is the potential Obed sale, but also what's going to affect this is if he looks like he's got to start looking like the player that he did his first couple of games on the team again, and then I think that makes it like a legitimately very like a tough decision, because you got to think about the cap and the roster compliance and all that. But if he looks that good, then I think I would want them to keep him. But right now, the pecking order seems pretty clear that this is a De La Vega Rothrock left winger rotation.
Yeah, and I mean Jesus has gotten more into the chemistry of the team, working with Rusnak and with whoever's up top. We're not really talking about who Kent's working with, and mostly because his lack of performance has to do with being dispossessed. So it's hard to know who he's established a good chemistry, whether it's the left back behind him, which him and Nuhu had a little bit of one there for a minute, but that's been so inconsistent with just Nuhu on the field, but also who's on the center mid and who's in just on his side of the field. Like I don't know what the chemistry is there. I don't know a good pairing. We need to see more, just because of, like I said, where it's kind of turned down as of recently. If he jives with some of those players on that side, then maybe we'll unlock him. By the same token, maybe if we put him on the right, maybe we'll unlock him. I don't know. And it would be nice, especially if he's getting double teamed, to really throw a curveball to those other teams, to switch him during the game left to right. Because are they prepared to double him up on the other side? You do that enough, suddenly they get mismarked, and then people are really coming open. So it'd be interesting to see if in real time we can move them to the right. Let's see here. Thomas had a good game. He's obviously getting aggressive because he is aggressive overall, but he's feeling comfortable, and so he's taking more risks, I would say, and that's just, you're familiar. He's very green in that respect, but I still say he's heir apparent, and absolutely glad that he's going to be, whenever Steph decides to call it a career, that Thomas is here. If Steph goes another year though, and Thomas is as good as he is, how much longer will he want to sit is a question. I think
my understanding of it, and I could be wrong, but my impression is that he is very much of the mind, like, I'm good with staying patient for as long as Steph Fry wants to play. And if I have to be the backup for another year or two, like going into this year, probably how I was thinking of it, if I have to be the backup for another year or two, I'm cool with that, because I know that, he's 26. So if he becomes the starter when he's 27 or 28, goalkeepers can play, like, we see what Steph's doing. He's
exactly
he's 39. So I don't get the impression that Andy T is a situation where he feels like, I need to be starting by this time, otherwise I want to leave. I think he's like got roots here at this point.
Well, and he's set for a career if he does, because and of all the teams in the U.S. at least, you'd want to be basically lifetime contract, which, not that it would be that, but effectively it would be that, given his potential. Why would you go somewhere else and risk, unless somebody was just immediately trying to sign you? Why would you not want to have the rest of your career here as the starter, even if it's a year later?
Yeah, it's a good gig.
Let's talk about two things. Well, the ref.
Oh, we haven't done any ref discourse yet. Let's do it.
So all of the benefit of the doubt that we don't get in like these last four matches, where the second yellows are coming instantly, and like there's contact in the box, and it's like, oh, it's a penalty. Like, no VAR necessary, just called straight out. How many opportunities was there for anything along those lines? And it's just nope, not even a look.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought this up, actually, because I did have a grievance about this. I try not to be the ref guy. And I don't think it was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in this game. But here's what I will say. There were two calls in this game. One on Albert Rusnak and one on Obed Vargas, where it was kind of soft contact in the box, and they go down and the ref waves it off. Those are getting called on Seattle right now. Yes. There is no difference between those calls that they let go on Rusnak and Obed Vargas than there is on the ones that Moose got called for in Kansas City and that Christian got called for against
last game.
Colorado. It's the same thing. And if you are going to call that on Seattle, then if it happens to them on the other end, you have to call that. There is no there's no way around that to me. There's not. Like, if it's the exact same type of foul and exact same type of contact, you can't not give it just because you gave one before and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of soft, I don't want to give another one. It has to be like a uniform standard. Like, can I get some consistency?
Yeah. And to play devil's advocate, let's be fair here. I 100% agree with you. That has to do with reffing standards. What we asked for is a ref to be consistent through a match. And we can't really say a ref in a different game is going to ref the way this game is. But to your point, the standard needs to be the standard. And different standards were applied in different games. I can give you a comparison in this game where this guy was not consistent. There was, in the first half, a cross from the outside. I don't know who it was. Left side of the box, went to go cross in. Defender came over, was a handball in the box because the cross hit his hand. Ref said nothing. No penalty, no call. Later then, in the second half, Jesus Ferreira, not in the box, in our end of the defensive field, is down there blocking a cross coming in from their defender. Same thing, 5 to 10 yards away. Arm is down against his body, hits his hand, ref calls a handball because it's not in the box. Same exact type play. Now, I get that you don't want to penalize defenders in the box who are trying to defend, and when it's a bang bang play like that. But it shouldn't have been a call against Jesus. We should have retained the possession there, just because it was outside the box. And if you listened, I'm sure you probably didn't because you were there. If you listened to the announcers, there was said again and again and again, and Zakawani was pointing it out. If it's a foul outside the box, and there were a number of calls where that was true, then it's a foul when it's inside the box. That cleat up to the thigh of, was it Danny?
No, that was, who was that? I can't remember. Might have been, I can't remember. Obed?
Was it Masovsky?
It might have been. I honestly don't remember.
There is no incidental, your cleat goes into my thigh that isn't a foul anywhere under any circumstances.
No,
zero.
Yeah.
I cannot think of any other time where it's like, well, he just grazed his thigh with the studs.
Jack says it was De La Vega. I think that's right. I think it was.
Yeah, it was De La Vega. It was, because he's like, what are you talking about? I could see his face with his arms up. That is nonsense. And the fact that
that was so bad.
And the guy, I mean, I'm not going to fault him for the Jordan play, but I thought that was a card in real time because it was aggressive.
I think so too. Like, I don't know. I get that he got to the ball way before the collision or whatever, but like he cleaned him out so hard.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
That's a great example of something that I've had a conversation with this last week with several people, and we need to put this aside, including announcers, and it'll never happen. Getting the ball does not precipitate or eliminate that a foul occurred.
Exactly.
Because a player gets the ball doesn't mean there's not a foul, and because a player doesn't get the ball doesn't mean it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, if you get the ball, it helps your case, but you can clean somebody out and still get the ball, and it can still be a foul. So let's just remove that as criteria.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets repeated again. The other one, what was it? So there was the pullback in the late, like an extra time. And I think it was De La Vega again. Was it De La Vega?
Were they the jersey tug?
Yes. That defender to his left was behind him, and only being pulled back put that defender in front of him. The defender who pulled him back was the last defender. It was that could have been Dogso. Absolutely. And considering the two chances that San Jose had at the end of the game, that free kick, and then there was another shot that was just barely saved by Thomas. Like, it may even been after that point. It may have been extra time, but if you don't give us that and they score, now we're talking about a tie.
Yeah.
The consistency in the game was not great from this ref.
Yeah. It's it's been a frustrating week or so of reffing. Yeah. Like I said, it's funny. I talk about how I try not to be that guy, and then apparently every week I'm the ref guy. But
no, I'm not blaming this game on the ref. What I'm saying is those things that deserve criticism, when there are things to point at, are worth having conversations about.
I just remember sitting in the press box and watching those the one on Rusnak and the one on Obed, and being like, if Seattle did that to them, you know he would be pointing at the spot. It's not even a question. Yeah. We've seen them do it the last 3 games.
He would be pointing at the spot before the foul even finished. He's like, oh yeah, this is clearly going to be a foul.
The vein in my forehead was about to burst on that, because it's just like, all right, I don't think that's a penalty either. That's been given as a penalty 3 times on Seattle in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So you gotta give it. That's just it.
Yeah.
Punch, I got Ty in the queue behind you, but
let me give you 2 more things.
Yeah, go for it.
First, the fun one. Pedro de la Vega. If you want to go and look, and maybe this gets him a nickname, I don't know, where he started versus being where he is now, it's not unlike Thor Ragnarok. He's cut the hair. He's got to, figure it out. I don't know if you've seen the movie or not, but he's kind of stuck in a situation, and they got to figure the way out in some kind of new kind of way. And I'm just saying that Pedro is going through that exact kind of scenario in terms of a not a redemption, but a humbling and figuring it out type moment. I don't know. He also quite resembles Chris Hemsworth with the short hair being cut. Like, you could put him up on screen and you'd see they're identical. The other thing I want to talk about is grand scheme. We've cracked on I have, the discipline, the consistent lack of discipline over going back to Vancouver. But if we're going to talk about trends and grand schemes, what are we talking about now? We're talking about 2 wins and a tie with 9 goals across 3 games. That also deserves credit. And I will say this, if we were down these goals, if we were down 3 goals, who was the last game we played?
Colorado.
If we were down 3-0 and came back and tied that game, we would have a completely different perspective about how well. It's like, wow, we got a tie out of that. And same with Kansas City. If we were down 2-0, if we were down in this game 2-0 and we came back and won, and now I get that's not great, but it's all a matter of perspective. What I'll say is this, and it's true if you really think about it, especially this year. This team is not used to being the team with a big lead and playing with it. They're not used to being hunted down where teams come out in the second half and say, how are we going to close this 2 and 3 goal lead? And just having, they're used to maybe getting some of the brunt force of like Club World Cup or some of these other, when we were playing the La Liga teams or the Liga Mekis teams. But they're not used to having a 3-goal lead and having the best effort and then seeing things suddenly collapse in some cases. And I'm not excusing it away, but it is a different mentality in terms of how you compose yourself and more importantly, how you find that 4th goal to really put things away. So if we're going to give credit, I mean, 3 goals in 3 games, 3 times, I'm not sure the Sounders have ever done that.
I don't think so.
And so just overall learning how to play as being a hunted team in the second half is a different thing because right now they've been focusing on how do we get the offense going. Well, they figured that out. And again, I'm not blaming it on the defense per se because a lot of it has to do with silly fouls. When you're getting an exorbitant amount of pressure, the PKs, the red cards, learning to deal with that in a half of a game scenario in 45 minutes. So I think there's some credit due in terms of they have turned it around and maybe it's a glass cannon kind of situation. Now we just got to figure out how to shore that up. And more importantly, use the same energy, which we did a little bit in the Colorado game, from the first half in the second half, and doing that consistently where we just don't open ourselves up. So I think credit where credit is due. If you had told us, which we talked 2 weeks ago, 2 wins and tie so far out of 3 of the 4, we would have signed up for that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the way I was thinking of it was like, just pretend the KC game was the tie and the Rapids game was the win, and then we would be like, that's fire. Like,
yeah, I mean, we're talking style points really at the end of the day right now. If we say what matters is the results, and I don't mean just in wins ties, but that's what we are discussing here. But in other scenarios, in terms of like what is the fallout from this, so you can't argue a whole lot with these results, and they were really close to having 3 wins of 3. So you get that corrected and scoring 3 goals and just knocking down wins. Who's going to complain about that?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely issues to be pointed to defensively, but as far as and also the discipline stuff, like you mentioned, but as far as the attacking output and the results right now, that they're what they need to be. So that's good to see. Hunch, any last?
No, that's it. I'm good. Glad to be on. Thanks, y'all. I'm glad to see so many callers in and. Always love the post.
We got a couple more in the queue, so we're gonna keep on rolling here. Thanks for calling in as always, man. Appreciate you, and catch you next time.
Thank you.
Shout out to Hunch as always for calling in. Got Ty and then Kenny after that. Stick and Wiggle, thank you so much for coming in with the $5 super chat. Our 3rd super chat of the stream. Not as many as I would like, but we take them all. Appreciate you guys who are giving us the support. Says also call me when we're leaky and have 90 minutes of our number 1 and 2 CBs. I think that's a fair point. I think like in general, the backline rotation has probably led to some of these issues. So hopefully with Yamar back healthy in the fold and Jackson Reagan coming back from suspension, that evens out a little bit. Jake, to answer your question, this is Homer Radio Hour. Yeah, that's what did you think it was? But the reason that you could argue, guys, that that's Dogso is because he had runners in the middle. It's not. Yes, they had the cover, but if you have runners that you can hit for like an open look on goal or a tap in, and they pull you back, that can be argued and considered an obvious goal scoring opportunity. You don't see that called that often, but on that play, you could argue it. I'm not like super bent out of shape about that one, but you could definitely argue it. Because if he doesn't pull him back, he has a wide open lane with 2 runners for like a potentially wide open goal. So you can call that. Ty, gonna bring Ty to the stage right now. He's got the Noah icon. Ty, what's up, man? Can you hear me first of all?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. How are you feeling? 3-2 win over the San Jose Earthquakes. 3 more goals for the attack. Brace for Moose and the Pedro de la Vega breakout. What'd you see?
Well, before that, talking about the dog show thing,
Yeah.
what's funny too is that was kind of like best case scenario to get a red card because there's like 90 seconds left in the game. But if the Sounders do it, it seems like they're happy to give us a red card in like
they would have called
minute.
that dog. That's the other thing. If it was Seattle that did that exact same thing, that would have been dog show. You know it.
But pertaining to the performance in general, it was pretty good. Funny enough, I was kind of glad. Not glad. I'm not going to say I was glad we got scored on first, but I knew it meant that we wouldn't be blowing any leads. If that means like it was a different challenge than what we've had to see the last 2 weeks.
I didn't mind seeing it. I didn't mind seeing it either because it was like, all right, let's see how you respond.
Yeah, get your ass in gear.
Yeah.
And then what was also kind of funny is, we've been pretty leaky ever since we moved Defender of the Year, Alex Roldan, out from center back. So I don't know. I don't know what that means because I feel like Columbus is definitely a way better team than Kansas City or San Jose, but we just keep it, or Colorado for that matter. So I don't really know where the leaky goals come. Like, I mean, Andrew Thomas had like what I in real time when I was watching it, like I thought it was the greatest save ever made. I didn't understand how it ended up back in the middle until I saw the replay and that he saved it like perfectly against the post and right back to Chicho. Like it was a fantastic save that he's not going to get very much credit for because, it ultimately did go in. But that's just another, like our set piece defending, like every time I see a team around the 18, especially with Espinoza crossing, it feels like we're ready just to concede like another header.
Yeah. The fouls to give away these set pieces too, like the one that the Chicho did end up scoring. As soon as they fouled him, I was like, they're fucking gonna score. Like, they gotta stop giving up those free kicks in those spots, especially like when you're protecting a lead. That's like one of the best way. They found a lot of ways to blow leads lately. Penalty kicks, red cards, giving away dangerous set pieces. That's another one, and it did almost cost them in this game. So that is among the defensive improvements I think we should hope to see in the coming weeks. That's one of the main ones for me, is just stop fouling guys around there. God damn.
Yeah, I think Reed also had one, and I think Schmetzer did mention it in the press conference. He had a chance to like pull down the guy 40 yards from goal. He gets beat. He kind of does the thing where he pretends like he's going to tug his shirt, catches up to him because he's pretty quick, and then just ends up fouling him 22 yards from goal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Schmetz did point that out.
What are we doing? And especially, he kind of had that last week, or it's funny, all the soft penalties start to blend together. But like he had a similar one where he had a chance to kind of freeze the guy on the touch line, which granted is a good assist zone for a set piece, but he ends up chasing the guy and then fouling him in the box, or like almost fouling him in the box. And maybe it's because he has so many yellow cards and like double yellow experience, like he just doesn't seem to get when and where to commit his tactical fouls. He seems pretty smart on the ball, but I have noticed that there's a lot of times where it's like, Reed, I just need you to tackle this guy and just take your yellow. But given his track record, it's almost like I don't want him to make the right play because I don't trust him for another 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good point. What did you make of the De La Vega breakout?
Well, it's kind of complicated because obviously, like, he played really well, and he kind of did that. He's either like the sharpest player field or like incredibly raw. I feel like it's rare to see kind of both sides of that come together. Like, I can remember whenever we played in Champions League, he looked super sharp, even if it was against like Montagua, but like even like the games we played against LAFC, like he's had really good games. But I also think it's hard that when he's playing on the right, like we saw this in Champions League, and this is kind of to my point, and even last year in Leagues Cup against Necaxa, when he plays on the left, he's just a lot more free. I think he's a lot more comfortable playing those like reverse passes with his dominant foot when he gets in the middle, as opposed to when he cuts in on the right, he's kind of on his left foot, and then you're kind of looking at like outside the foot shots and stuff. But when he's been able to put his laces through balls, he's been really good this year. And I don't think we've seen enough of him on the left. But I can also acknowledge that that's like Ryan Kent's strongest position. And like, I know he's been kind of cooled down, but like there is kind of a log jam at winger. And like Pedro did get a goal and an assist, so that's fantastic. But Paul Rothrock, he's still getting like goals and assists like pretty consistently. So it's like Paul Rothrock's doing just enough to keep a DP off the field, which is like good and bad, if that makes sense.
See, the way the game last night went changes the way I think about that a little bit. And I say that as someone who has been at the very least, like the last few weeks here, I think it made perfect sense and was the right decision to keep riding the hot hand with Paul Rothrock. And you definitely you have to find ways for Paul Rothrock to maintain a big role on this team. I think he has earned that. And he has like the end product that he's offered the last few weeks shouldn't be overlooked. Like he's the one who scored the goal against the Columbus Crew. He's the one who assisted Jordan Morris goal at Sporting Kansas City. Like he's the one who's been making things happen and been dangerous in attack all season. De La Vega, well, first of all, I think it's clear that when they do give him run, which they're going to be doing over the next few weeks in Leagues Cup and stuff, that it has to be on the left. He looked exponentially better there than he has looked at any other point. And that also, I do think, I said this earlier, but like there's just a different ceiling that you could potentially tap into with a guy like De La Vega compared to Rothrock. Rothrock has incredible value from his like consistency, and you know what you're going to get. And he's refined his game a lot. I think he actually he's offered a lot of end product in his MLS career. I'm gonna look this up right now, but if you actually look at it, he's started like let's see, he's started 32 games and he has like 17 goal contributions. Like it's
his contract is also really good too. I mean, that's another element. I mean, he's probably gonna. I mean, he has to get a raise at some point. But like, it's funny. Like, it's like even, one of our minimums versus one of our DPs.
Even like with all that said about Rothrock, I mean, you watch De La Vega score a goal like he did. Like he did last night, and you're like, that's just something that not very many human beings can do. Like that was an incredible shot. So the upside that he flashed in that game finally like was just so tantalizing that I think you have to give that a lot of run to see if it can really be a ceiling raiser, which I think there's the potential that it can be.
Well, and he had a really good run. I can't remember if it was Obed Christian or Rusnak, but there's like a little sliced ball through three people where Pedro was in on goal kind of on the left, but it touched his foot, but it kind of skipped off his foot out of bounds, but he was pretty much clean in on goal again. So like he's making the runs, he's super active. I thought he was fantastic. And like Jesus on the right with Pedro on the left, I feel like if you just think about the game in like a total football sense, or like just covering positions on the field, when you have Jesus, who's really good with his vision and going in the middle, that gives Alex or Costa Rienzi room to go in that right channel anyway. Ideally on the left, if Nuhu's playing well and he's defensive, then that allows more freedom for Pedro to do crazy stuff on the right, and you just have a really good shape. And ideally you have Jordan Morris to give you that speed behind. But Musovski, it's like he's scoring, so I'm not complaining, but he ultimately has a ceiling, but I don't think it's a ceiling that's going to keep you from winning like playoff games. Like, you're not going to win or tie any Club World Cup games with Danny Musovski, but we're kind of past that. So like, you just need Daniel to get a goal against Houston in the play. Well, Houston probably won't make the playoffs, but you know what I mean.
No, I think
Like
it's a good point. Like the question there, it's not about like at this point if Danny Musovski can be a productive MLS striker. It's like, can you really like make a playoff run and contend for silverware with Danny Musovski as your starting striker? Whereas like, we already know that they have done that many times with Jordan Morris. But like for me, where I sit today, it feels like I don't know. I feel very like comfortable with Moose out there, and that he's going to get his looks, and that if he gets enough of them, he's going to finish some of them. Like I think you can like contend for MLS Cup with
we won
with
MLS
Musovski.
Cup with Nelson Valdez.
Yes, that is very, very true. A remarkable feat.
And
honestly,
Nelson didn't even take a penalty kick to win MLS Cup either. So it's like,
no,
like he didn't even score in the biggest game. I don't even think he had a shot in the biggest game, and he didn't even score his penalty kick in the biggest game. And we still, granted, MLS is very different now, but I feel like the floor is so much higher. Like, soccer's still soccer. I mean, there's a lot of games where like Manchester City's still gonna win 90% of their games, but sometimes they lose to like an amateur middle table team because they just have some guy who's 6'2" and he wins a header and you hit the post a few times. Like, there's no reason to think we can't win anything without Jordan. It just kind of sucks that he's like he's taken over the DP injury bug, which we've seen for Nico, and then we saw it for Raul, obviously. And now, like, I feel like Jordan's been even more unhealthy than Raul was last year, which is insane to think about because Jordan was so healthy last year.
It sucks how this year has gone. It's just unlucky, man. Like, I feel bad for him because, like we've talked about, he's looked awesome to me, like in the games that he has played. It's just like this latest one, it's a freak collision. Like, it's just one of those things. Ty, I got a couple.
No worries.
Couple people here behind you, but any last thoughts or takes you wanted to get out there about this game?
Real quick, I guess like upside, to Jordan, like if there is one, if he can't play, eventually, I mean, I feel like they'll maybe be able to buy down his DP contract sooner than later, in the sense that he's not hitting metrics and he's not healthy. It's just I don't think he has a ton of value going anywhere else at this stage. Like, I think he's 30 or 31. Like, for a striker who thrives on speed and stuff, like, he can really only do this for another year or two before he kind of becomes more like a Daniel Musovski, where you just win headers and finish chances. But considering we seem to be kind of a poverty franchise who's not even going to be able to sign a U20, like,
broke.
When Jordan got hurt, I'm like, it would have been nice if we had a U22 striker to at least like have his backup. But now we're back to Dwayne's child. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's It's definitely the number 9 situation is tough right now, but
do you know when the window closes?
Yeah, it's July 24th to like August 20 something. It's like something like that.
And if we don't have, we don't have any rumors right now. I don't think.
I haven't heard any other than Noah, Ohio, which the last I heard on that,
right,
they jacked up the price, and it's probably not going to happen. But maybe that'll still happen.
No way. It'd be crazy to think we go through this transfer window without adding anybody, but.
Yeah,
what it is.
We'll see. The rumor, like once the window opens, the rumors will pick up. I know they had targets outside of Noah, Ohio. Maybe they get something done with one of those. But
yeah, I just feel like we hear leaks and stuff by this point. That's all. The lack
sometimes,
of
but sometimes they keep it close to the vest. So we'll see. Yeah. But all right, Ty, thanks for calling in as always. Good stuff, man. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Okay, bye.
Later. All right, we got Kenny and then W, and then I'm gonna call it. It's been a long one, so gonna do 2 more, and then I'm gonna get out of here. So if you tap in the queue, sorry, I'm gonna cut it off. But let's knock these last 2 out, and then call it a wrap for this post game live. Kenny, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm gonna bring you to the stage right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Ari.
Okay, I got you.
All good. All good.
What's up, man? 3-2 over the Quakes. How are you feeling?
It's okay. It's okay. 9 goals in a week, 7 points in a week. One of them's at SKC. One of their fans got a face full of ball.
Yep.
Pick that out. On that Noah, Ohio thing, it's kind of funny. It's like, they're like, how much purse did Seattle get for Club World Cup? That's the transfer fee. That's what we wanted all along. That's exactly right. 9.9 million. Perfect. Done deal.
You're saying they jacked up the price to the Club World Cup, the exact Club World Cup earnings?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I didn't think of that. That could be true.
It's the exact same price. I mean, people don't want to lose their young strikers for cheap to a smart club who's always poaching diamonds in the rough like Seattle. But the thing I really wanted to hit was, maybe people are a little burnt out on it, but I want to get to the new who discourse just a little bit, because one of my biggest problems with this squad in the last year and a half maybe is it's nice guy FC, right? Nice guy
I've been
FC.
saying that. I've been saying that too.
Who isn't? New who? He's the new Aussie. He's the honey badger of this team. He's the go seek and destroy. He's the bully that people don't want to go around. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to let some Brazilian fuckface come in our house and fucking shove on him off the ball. He'll do it in front of the ref. Who gives a fuck?
See, all right.
Stop that goal. No.
I think the difference is, like, with Aussie, it was
calculated.
It was aggression, but it was calculated. It was controlled aggression. What we're talking about with Nuhu is stuff that's like outside the bounds of that. Like, it's like the Botafogo one, that's off the ball. That's got nothing to do with the game. The Sporting KC crash out, that's like a incident with fans, which outside of whether you think the fan was in the right or in the wrong, or like what you think of the throwing the ball or whatever, that's just not smart from the standpoint of anytime you get into it with a fan and that boundary gets crossed, you're susceptible to even more punishment past the red card that you're going to get. So it was just like doubly, triply not smart. So, I mean, I see what you're getting at, but it's like, there's a difference between being like an enforcer and like the bully on the field and doing stuff that is like out of control and like getting you sent off. Aussie really didn't get a lot of red cards in his career.
He got more than Nuhu has in only, 50 more games at this point.
Wow, 50,
is that 60 true? More games. Yes. Jackson Reagan is 1 suspension away from matching Nuhu in his career in about 200 less games. So these are some contextual things that we don't always add to the conversation when we're bringing up Nuhu.
I think it's fair to point out that Nuhu has historically not gotten like an inordinate amount of red cards for a defender.
No, it's normal.
He has in the last like couple weeks, but like track record throughout his career. But it's like that's why it's like, why is he crashing out like this right now? Like,
yeah, who can say? Who can say? It's been a lot of games this year. It's been a lot of pressure on this team when the results weren't going right. He did the same thing about this exact same time last year. Crashed out really hard on his own teammates, on his own coaching staff. So, maybe it's deeper than just what's going on the field. People have been asking Brian Schmetzer about that. He says he doesn't know anything about that. They said, "What are you going to do for Nuhu?" He said, "Oh, well, we had a conversation." And it's like, don't you guys got like sports psychologists and stuff? Can we get a little deeper into this than a conversation? But he's old school.
I did think it was kind of, he was very like dismissive, I would say, like when he was talking to the press about it. My favorite Schmetz quote was, "Well, that was the first time he's ever thrown the ball in the stands and then flipped off the ref."
What? Well, it's true. Usually he is much more controlled. He's been on a wild streak, and I don't know. I like Schmetzer defending the guy.
I get that. I get why he's doing it.
You need to come harder, Ari. You need to come harder for new.
There's a way that he could have addressed it that was defending and protecting his player, and also being like, it's probably not good that the team has gotten 5 red cards and conceded 6 penalties in the last 6 games, and we're working on that. There was not like a lot of that, which I don't know, every coach handles stuff differently, but I thought there would be a little bit more of like, this is kind of, when you're getting ejected and giving up penalties at a league record clip, that's not good.
And that's not just Nuhu. I also wanted to talk about the fullbacks in this last game. Reed caught up field jogging back. If that was Nuhu, he'd be crucified. Kalani getting spun badly for that first goal. If that was Nuhu, he'd be crucified. But they're young. Kalani is 3 years younger than Nuhu. Checks out. Oh, that's another crash out I got, man. We're always calling these mid-20s players young. Andrew Thomas, he's not young. Jackson Reagan, he's not young. Paul Rothrock, he's not young. They're not young anymore. They're not. They're just not.
Well,
Jackson Reagan's 1 year younger than Nuhu, and we would never call Nuhu a young player.
In the case of Andy T, it might be a reference more to like his relative inexperience of playing.
Inexperienced. So he's inexperienced. He's not young. He's inexperienced.
I think that's probably what people mean. Jackson Reagan, I mean, he's been around at this point.
Andrew Thomas, he looked great. He looked great for an inexperienced guy. He's hell of an athlete, man. That motherfucker's a cat.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Like, did I lose you?
I still hear you, but I don't know if you lost me. Give Kenny a second, see if he can tap back in.
Yo,
can you
Ari.
hear me? Can you hear me, Kenny?
All right.
Okay. Well, that does it for Kenny's call. Good call, Kenny. Thanks for tapping in. Before we get, is that Jake? Is that your okay? Yeah. Before we get Jake in here, Hunch Punch, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for all the support today from everyone. Shout out to Hunch right there. You're good, Kenny. You're good. All right. We're going to bring Jake on here. Last call of the day. Jake, what is up, man? 3-2 over the Quakes. Pedro de la Vega breakout. How are you feeling?
I mean, obviously that result's pretty solid. Can't argue with 3 goals. Obviously, shipping 2, not as egregious as shipping 3 midweek after going up 3-0. So that was an improvement. But it's hard to really fault our back line when they've just been a rotating. Are you still there? Am I gone? Hello. Might have lost me.